The Gators snapped a 4-game losing streak with a win against Kentucky last week, and that secured Galen Hall's job for another year. The Florida defense is tough, led by 93 Trace Armstrong. So far this year, he's recorded 6 sacks, as the Gators have the second-best defense in the country. Offensively, they missed Emmitt Smith at midseason with a knee injury, but he's back 100%. Renegade and the Seminoles are riding high with 9 consecutive victories. They're led by senior quarterback Chip Ferguson, 4th in the nation in passing efficiency, and he's got a host of outstanding receivers led by number 8, Terry Anthony. But the main man is Deion Sanders, 14 career interceptions. He's the nation's leading punt returner. They call him Primetime, and he's on Primetime next. And we welcome you to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida, where tonight the Gators of the University of Florida take on the 5th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State University. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger Twiddle, and welcome to our presentation of CFA football. On October the 8th, both of these teams had 5-1 records, and they've taken drastically different routes to where they're at right now. Florida State at 9-1, Florida at 6-4. Both are bowl-bound, but Florida, of course, has had their problems this year. This is the final regular season meeting, and, of course, always a very important game, the 31st meeting between these two teams. Let's bring in now a man who graduated from Florida State University. He coached here, never got to play against Florida, and, of course, I'm talking about Lee Corso. Lee, this is a relatively new series for a traditional rivalry.
Well, it started in 1958, and Florida State in 1958 had 2 things: beautiful women and a great band, but not much of a football game. So it wasn't a big game to Florida until Florida started getting beat by Florida State. Now it's an important game for both teams.
This is, of course, the last regular season game. As I mentioned, both teams bowl-bound. The bodies are banged up. And speaking of bodies, football players have a lot of different parts of their body, don't they?
And a lot of the parts of this ball game are key to it. Let's take a look at some of them. Right there is the elbow of Oliver, the free safety. If he plays, which he will, he's a tremendous free safety. Second, the eyes of the quarterback from Florida, Morris. He telegraphs his passes. Florida State looks like they can intercept a lot of passes. Next, the right knee of Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith is a great football player. With Emmitt Smith, Florida's an average football playing. They become a great team when he's well. Last but not least, the waistline of Galen Hall. I know this is crazy, but I think he lost 37 pounds. He might have saved his job. People said he didn't look like the Florida coach. And I said to him, the guy won 16 games in a row. You never mentioned his body then.
But the body of Florida State has been looking very good ever since that opening season loss to Miami.
Yeah, and they got a good body, too. Let's take a look first. The arm of the quarterback, Ferguson. He needs to throw the football because Florida has a tremendous front line on defense. Next, we look at the legs of Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith might turn pro. Why? Number 1, Sanders is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Number 2, he's married and got a daughter, needs the money. And number 3, why mess around with college football when he can be a great pro? Next, we look at the brain of Bobby Bowden. Nobody calls a game better on the sideline than Bobby Bowden. And last but not least, the mouth of Deion Sanders. He's been shooting his mouth off all this week about how great he is and what's going to happen. That's easy for Sanders, it says. He's 15 yards downfield. Those linemen are probably saying, shh, not so loud, Sanders.
Yeah, but Sanders has been backing it up all year. We got a great seat here for this game right on the 50-yard line. Chris Fowler's working with us tonight. Chris, you've got a good vantage point, too.
I sure do, Roger. I'm rising up above the scoreboard here. Got a great view over Doak Campbell Stadium and also North Florida. Here I am up here. Keep in mind, folks, this is the biggest night of the year for football in this part of the country. This is one of those rivalries where a hate has built up over the years. It all started for Florida State in 1958. The very first game, things got so frenzied leading up to the game, they almost had to cancel classes that week, and the folks in Garnet and Gold have been that revved up ever since. For Florida, as Lee mentioned, they started to get involved in 1964 when Florida State first beat them, and I'll tell you, there's a hatred on the Florida side right now. You can hear some healthy boos earlier when these teams were introduced. It's been a very streaky series, and keep in mind that a major upset has not been pulled off since 1975 when an 0-5 Florida team team beat a 5-0 Florida State team, and it's the Gators trying to pull off the upset tonight. They are 17-point underdogs. I kind of like it up here, Roger. It's a little less cluttered than the sidelines. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Keep in mind, though, the last 3 games played here at Doak Campbell Stadium have been in quagmires. A lot of rain, and Florida won all 3 of those. Tonight, beautiful weather, no rain in sight. ESPN's presentation of CFA football is brought to you by Cinemax, the pay TV channel that gives you more movies, more choice. By Wang Laboratories, Wang makes it work. And by Atcher Plus, Gillette made it smoother. Florida State, the final regular season game of the year, coming up next.
Hi, am I glad you're here? You know what I figured out? Cinemax has around 130 different movies a month. That's how the big movies. On the other hand, that's half as many. How are they able to do that? Does Showtime call up and go, excuse me, can we have a month that has less days in it, please? No, I'll tell you how they do it. They show more repeats. They show the same movies over and over. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't say, please show me another movie. Please, I know all the dialogue to this movie.
So, was the Army what you expected?
Well, I joined for the college money. But you know, I'm getting more than that.
The GI Bill and Army College Fund. Qualify and you'll get over $25,000 for tuition and an edge on life.
Wanted. NFL seeks brilliant coach. Can you outsmart your opponent with a strategy you plan from 20 offensive and 12 defensive play formations? Well, here's your proving ground. With over 200 NFL highlights. Play action VCR football from Epix.
Owning a home or a brand new car can be a dream come true. And USF&G can help to protect and cover you. From the mountain's edge to the ocean's edge, we insure you every day. We protect what America's made of. We cover the USA.
Oh, Harold, it's lovely.
I hope you like it.
It reminds me of when we first got electric light back when I was a child.
Oh.
Daddy used to draw his chair up to that light and read to us. Oh, and memories. But Harold, this is the 80s. And I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Kill the light, will you, Harold?
Oh, because everything else is just a light.
You're looking at Chief Osceola. The horse is named Renegade. And Lee Corso, you're familiar with that, Quinnell, aren't you?
Oh, it's a great tradition here. The horse will run out, Chief Osceola will get everybody fired up, and he'll throw the flaming sword in the middle, and everybody will go crazy, and then, oh, what a great moment it is for college football right now.
Both teams still out in the middle of the field as the captains were there for the coin toss. Florida won the toss, and they deferred, and Florida State will receive the opening kickoff. And, Lee, that's happened almost every game we've done this year.
The reason you do that is because you want to see how the game's going to flow. So that's why you can come out at halftime, and you know right then you can either get the ball, or if it's a weather situation, you might have to kick it off.
The temperature is perfect, 68 degrees. The wind south, 10 to 15 miles per hour. You saw the humidity, 65%. Now he comes off the horse here.
It's the first time, the last part of the year, the last game, he jumps off the horse. Notice that the Florida Gators are out there. All right.
And now the teams take the respective sidelines. And always an emotional moment in this Florida State matchup. As we talked at the top, the 31st meeting between these two teams. This was originally a girls' school. That's why Lee Corso came here to play football.
You got it.
Florida leads 22-7-1. Florida's won the last 3 games in Tallahassee, as we mentioned in the last meeting last year in Gainesville. Florida State 28 and Florida 14. That's the first game that Galen Hall lost as a head coach at the University of Florida against Florida State. And what do you call this battle, in-state rivals?
JS games, job savers. Now, maybe because of what the president said, this won't be a JS game for Galen Hall, but you know it's not for Bobby Bowden.
There's a look at Galen Hall, who, of course, replaced Charlie Pell back in the 85 season for the final 3 games. In 86, he went 6-5. In 87, excuse me, they went 9-1-1, had that great season back in 85, replaced Pell in 84. And then in 86, 6-5. Last year, 6-6, losing in the Aloha Bowl. They've already accepted a bid to the All-American Bowl, where they'll play Illinois, and was given the vote of confidence last week. And, of course, Bobby Bowden, how much more confidence do you need? All you have to do is look at that record in 13 years.
But he lost 6 straight ball games to Florida previous to last year.
This will kick it off. And down on the near side for Florida State, that's Keith Ross. And he's across the 30 to the 32-yard line. 27 yards on the return. Chip Ferguson's the quarterback from Charlotte, North Carolina. The running backs are Dane Williams and Sammy Smith. The wide receivers, Terry Anthony and Ronald Lewis. The tight end is Tom O'Malley. The center, Michael Tanks. The guards, Mike Morris and Jason Kuipers. The tackles, Joey Ionata and Pat Tomberlin. Florida State University will have the ball, but a penalty marker is down, and a personal foul against the University of Florida, and that gets this crowd incited even more if they weren't making enough noise already.
Personal foul on the kicking team.
Sometimes the officials will do that early in a ball game like this to try to keep control of the ball game.
That gives Florida State great field position at their 48-yard line. Movement up front by Florida, and Ferguson's got a free play as flags are down. He is not a running quarterback as he slides safely into the 45-yard line. As we'll check out the Florida defense for you, Jeff Roth is the nose guard. Guys on the end, tremendous. Trace Armstrong, Rondi Weston, 13 sacks between them. The inside backers, Joey Nicoletto and Pat Moore, their leading tackler. On the outside, Owen Bartriff and Huey Richardson. The secondary, Richard Fain and Kerry Watkins, the corners. And the safeties, Godfrey Miles and Bill Lang. Miles taking the place of Lewis Oliver, who's out with a dislocated elbow, but we expect Oliver to play tonight. Miles, an interesting story, a converted linebacker. A 5 yards stepped off against Florida, so they've opened up the game with consecutive penalties. You see Ferguson, 62.9% of the completions, 13 touchdown passes, and 10 interceptions. It's 1st and 5 at the 47 of the Gators. Screen, Sammy Smith. And he's to the 41-yard line. Jerry Odom, 57, inside linebacker, makes the stop, and that's a 1st down.
Interesting call there. The reason why they call a screen early in the game is because the Florida defensive line, like 93, Armstrong going to rush the passer. Nice little screen play. Smith catches the ball with good hands and goes down the sideline. Nice call by Bobby Bowden to keep that pass rush off of Ferguson, the quarterback.
1st and 10, 41-yard line. Split backs. Smith on the draw, and he's dumped right at that 41-yard line. Florida, what have they done this year? They're 2nd in passing defense, 2nd in total defense, 3rd in scoring defense, and 12th in rushing defense. But, Lee, they haven't been able to put any offense to go with that defense.
Because Emmitt Smith has been hurt. When Smith's in there, Florida is an outstanding offensive team. Without him, they're below average offensively, and they put too much pressure on that great defense.
Loss of 1 on that last play is Jeff Roth, the nose guard, got in on the tackle. Both wide receivers split to the top of your screen. This is Dane Williams. And Williams, he's met there by Joey Nicoletto, the inside backer, a senior from Tampa. 66 tackles coming into this game, and an outstanding performance.
Nice call here. Draw play to Williams, the fullback. The reason why Bobby Bowden went to a screen first and a draw second is to keep the pass rush of the lineman from Florida down. But Nicoletto stepped right up and read it perfectly.
3rd down and 11 now. Terry Anthony splits to the top of your screen. Ronald Lewis to the near side. He's got his fullback, Dane Williams, inside the 30 to the 29, and that's a Florida State University first down. 12 yards on the pickup, and just the 4th pass reception by Williams, the senior from Leesburg. He goes 6'1" and 220.
And speaking of Williams, he was the 4th receiver. Ferguson looked left, right, middle, and then dumped it off to Williams in the right flat. That was an excellent play by Ferguson to find the open man.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Wide receiver to the top of your screen. Lawrence Dawsey's in there now, number 29. And that's where Ferguson goes to Dawsey. At the 25-yard line, he's met by 3 white-shirted players, including Richard Fain, the left cornerback over there, number 28, and also Godfrey Miles. Miles is number 98. He's 6'1", 224, a sophomore from Miami, as Dawsey leads Florida State in touchdown receptions with 8. Folks, he's got 16 catches on the year. Every other time he gets his hands on the football, it's for 6.
So if that percentage works out, watch him for a touchdown coming up soon.
Dawsey and Anthony split to the near side on 2nd and 6. Sammy Smith inside the 20 on another Florida State first down. Huey Richardson and Rondi Western in on the stop. This is a young man, Sammy Smith, who when the year began was touted as a Heisman Trophy candidate. It's been a disappointing year.
And that's why he might turn professional. It's a good handoff right into Smith going off the left side of the line. Number 65, Haynes, pulls in there and drives him forward. Number 4, Watkins comes up. But anytime a back like Watkins has to make a tackle 8 yards down the field, that means you're running through the offensive line, is running over the defensive line.
1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. Blitz coming. Dawsey at the 15. Dawsey inside the 10. Dawsey! Touchdown! On a touchdown pass.
Ground level, nice little bootleg action. Remember, we talked about Dawsey every other time. This was the 2nd time he touched the football, and what did he do? He scored. Great effort, great balance. Watch him. All he needs to do is cross the line. His knee might have been down.
Might have gotten down at the 1.
But it's played in Tallahassee. That means it's always
Richie Andrews for the point after. He's hit 50 of 51 this year. And make it 51 of 52. 11:31 to go. First quarter. Florida State leads it by a touchdown.
You might think owning a car this luxurious would be prohibitively expensive. But don't be fooled, because this car was recently rated the best overall value of any European car in its class, which makes the Volvo 740 something rare indeed. A luxury sedan for people who don't consider any of their income disposable.
Casio, twin grab. Data bank. World. Time. Phone dialer.
Casio, watches that do more than keep time. They keep you ahead of your time.
The Transamerica Pyramid. You'll find it wherever there's a need for financial services. Whether it's property and casualty insurance in Dallas, life insurance in New York, consumer loans in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, or commercial financing in Chicago. You see, our home may be in San Francisco, but our heart is everywhere. Transamerica, the power of the pyramid is working for you.
Tonight's presentation of CFA football is brought to you by Volvo, a car you can believe in. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. And by Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time. Roger Twano, Lee Corso, Chris Fowler here with you in Tallahassee, Florida. Richie Andrews to kick it off. Tony Lomack and Alonzo Sullivan back deep. And that's Lomack at the 5. Lomack has his sideline. midfield. He is dragged down from behind, and the man on the special teams, who is Alan Stewart, a backup corner, who made the tackle.
Tony Lomack, Tallahassee, Florida. You know why he's such a great runner? He played at Leon High School here, and he made over 5,200 all-purpose yards as a running back. Great effort.
Lee, a footnote, that was the first touchdown scored on Florida in the first quarter this year. And the officials have called a timeout. Gators offensively, Kyle Morris makes his 7th start of the year from Clinton, Mississippi. The running backs, Emmett Smith and Cedric Smith. Wide receivers are Terrence Barber and Tony Lomack, who made that fine kick return. The tight end is Mark McGriff. The centers, Tracy Daniels. And the guards, Kevin Sills and Chris Bromley. The tackles for the Gators, David Williams and John Durden. Williams, the best on the offensive line for Florida. There's an injured player for the Seminoles of Florida State. That looks like 89, Howard Dinkins, who is down on the near sideline. 11:24 to go. First quarter. And Florida State has jumped out to a 7-0 lead.
Florida State was very sharp in that first drive. This is a nice little bootleg action by number 5, Ferguson. He hits Dawsey. Dawsey now makes it a great run after catching the ball. Watch this. One of the things you teach the offensive receivers is once you catch the football, you immediately turn into a running back. Remember, Dawsey, 50% of the times he touches the football, he scored. This was the second time he touched it today.
Ferguson's hit his first 4 passes, and Lee, the athletic ability by the balance shown here. That's a drill you run in practice, isn't it?
And I tell you what, you can run it all day long, but the best way to get that kind of balance is to recruit it.
There's Lawrence Dawsey, 17 receptions, 9 touchdowns this year. That is being very efficient in your passing game. And as I mentioned, Ferguson completed his first 4 passes. He is 4th in the nation in passing efficiency. And in the Florida State passing game, Lee, they may not be the top passing team in the country, but they're only behind Washington State University in number of yards per pass. They get over 8.5 yards every time they catch the football.
And one of the things, the reason why they do that is because they throw the ball downfield.
And downfield is Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, Roger. Howard Dinkins is now sitting up. He did not move for a long time. Trainer is very careful, but there you see him. He is up and gets the ovation. He really got clocked on that kickoff return play.
I felt, Lee, that you could never pay a professional or give enough scholarships to somebody to play on special teams anyway. A tough job, and Florida's got a tough job here. 1st and 10. It's at midfield. Morris has got a receiver. It's his tight end, McGriff. Inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. 26 yards on the reception by McGriff, and defensively for Florida State, Odell Higgins is the nose guard. Eric Hayes and Steve Gibbard, the defensive tackles. The backers on the inside, Kelvin Smith and Felton Hayes. And on the outside for the Noles, Shelton Thompson and John Hatley. The secondary, what else can we say? Deion Primetime Sanders and Tracy Sanders, no relation. And the safety, Stan Shiver and Leroy Butler. 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. Emmett Smith. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Kelvin Smith, 36, was there. His 83rd tackle of the year.
Calvin Smith is from Jacksonville, Florida. Now watch Emmett Smith. He breaks to the outside, gets a good break on it, but from the inside out, number 36, the linebacker Smith came in from the inside out. Florida State is famous for having very fine inside linebackers.
Emmett Smith, 10th in the nation in rushing. He's missed 2 games this year and played in just parts of 2 others. 2nd and 8. Open across the middle is McGriff again, the senior from Gainesville, and he's one of those local guys that stayed home. Now, both of these schools have players from Tallahassee and Gainesville, but it seems that there are more Tallahassee kids that go over to Gainesville than Gainesville coming to Tallahassee. You see what McGriff's done this year.
McGriff family is famous over in Gainesville. His dad played there. He had an uncle play there. The McGriff family is famous for Florida football.
3rd down and 4. Near side, and Ernie Mills had it. He dropped it. There's a penalty marker down. Tracy Sanders, the senior from Bradenton, was on the coverage.
Interference on the defense. 1st down.
So pass interference is the call on Florida State. And Lee, this year, if there's one negative about the Seminoles, they're averaging almost 80 yards a game in penalties.
A lot of the penalties are aggressive penalties, and you can't really coach against that. That time it was a very, very fine pass by Morris that threw the ball in an area where Tracy Sanders had no way but to get past interference. He was going to knock the ball down.
1st and 10 at the 10-yard line. They can make a 1st down as Emmitt Smith down to the 2. And folks, that's why he was the top freshman in the country a year ago.
And there's not 4 backs in the whole world that can make a 7-yard gain out of this. Watch to the left-hand part of your picture now. Watch Smith break here, break outside, jump over a man, keep the football, run over another guy, and get all the way down to the 2-yard line. That's why they're a fine football team with him in there.
They can make a 1st down without scoring. It's 2nd down at the 2. Just over 9 minutes to go. Morris gets back to the line of scrimmage. Leroy Butler nearly had him back around the 10-yard line, but Stan Shiver got a hold of him and brought him down as he did indeed get it back to the 2.
It looked like it was a busted play. He tried to get the ball to number 22, Emmitt Smith, but did the smart thing. When he couldn't get the handoff, instead of fumble it, Galen Hall has taught these young men to run forward.
In their last game against Kentucky, which was 2 weeks ago, Emmitt Smith scored a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. It was the first touchdown that Florida had scored in 11 quarters. They have to take advantage of this opportunity right now on 3rd down from the 2. Emmitt Smith. He didn't get it. Kelvin Smith was there to meet him head on. 6 foot, 235, a sophomore from Jacksonville.
That's the way a linebacker is supposed to make the tackle. Watch Smith go over the left guard, and when he gets hit, he gets knocked backwards. Watch here. Boom. Now, the reason why he got knocked backward, he's already airborne. But now, in this situation, watch number 36 come from the inside out. Smith, good body position. See how he gets lower? In football, the lowest man wins. Now,
Lee, I mentioned that you could get a 1st down without scoring. They're going to bring the chains in now as Smith, and that's the linebacker's job, to lay back there in the goal line defense and wait for that man to jump up. And you see, they've got about 8 inches for the 1st down and about 2 more inches for the touchdown.
They've got to go for it. You've got to come out. Florida has to come out and take this crowd out of the game. They've got to respond. 3 points is not worth anything here. Go for it.
David Williams, 6'5", 290, a senior from Lakeland, is their left tackle. They have gone that way the last couple of times. Let's see if they do it the 3rd time. Tony Lomax splits out to the far side. Cedric Smith is the fullback, 39. Emmitt Smith behind him, 22. Emmitt Smith, great second effort and touchdown, Florida. He was hit by Kelvin Smith in the backfield, and those strong, powerful legs just shed that tackler, and he went into the end zone.
From the left-hand side of your picture, watch a Florida Gator hit Smith in the backfield right there. He hit him in the backfield, but look at the determination. He's got that strong lean, that good body lean. Another shot.
Corian Freeman, number 10.
Okay, number 10. Watch him. He hits him in the backfield, 2 yards. He keeps his balance, keeps his going. Good line blocking. Touchdown for Emmitt Smith.
Point after by John Francis is good. And with 8:26 to go, first quarter, we're tied at 7 in Tallahassee. Oh, there's a relieved head coach.
The basic idea behind the Volvo 740 Turbo Wagon. Nature's light. Bathing fields of grain. Enriching full, fresh hops. Giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's Beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
There's only one place you'll find the cordless Rotomatic shaver with 3 automatic adjustable floating heads for just $24.99. Only one place and at this price. Now, only at Sears.
Now there's a football game with all the sound, all the action, the challenge of the real game. Introducing play-by-play talking football, the best game next to the real game.
Tied up at 7 as John Francis kicks it off, and Keith Ross on the near side will let it go out of bounds. They'll throw the flag and step off a few yards against the University of Florida. Both these teams, Lee, have had, I want to say, major kicking problems, but it has been a problem, especially for Florida. 8 plays, 50 yards, 3 minutes and 5 seconds, and Emmitt Smith on the 4th down takes it in on the 1-yard touchdown run. And what a difference it is having him back. We saw him against Auburn. They had no offense at all. At least with Emmitt Smith, they've got something to work off of, a base to go from.
Plus, with Emmitt Smith in there, they can fake Emmitt Smith, and as the game goes along, throw the ball much better. When they were faking to those other backs, the linebackers would just forget it and run back and play pass defense.
Bobby Bowden, who will be taking his team to the Sugar Bowl. And John Francis, the junior from Stark, Florida, will tee it up and go again. It's Ross again at the 8-yard line. Outside at the 40-yard line. He's brought down by John Spirito and Andy Newman. 34 yards on the return. This is what's happening on ESPN. The bowl picture for these two teams, Florida and Illinois, the All-American Bowl in Birmingham, December 29th at 8 Eastern Time. And then, of course, Florida State will be playing Auburn in the Sugar Bowl. That won't be on ESPN, but you'll get to see the Gators again against Illinois. John Makovic did a good job up there.
Big Ten against the SEC.
1st and 10. Sammy Smith. Across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Smith averaging 5.3 yards per carry. He's a junior from Zellwood, 6'2" and 224. He got off to a slow start this year. Lee got hurt, was pulled out of the starting lineup, has been very disgruntled as the Florida defense in '88 have held opponents to 19 points and 1 touchdown in the first quarter, and that 1 touchdown was here this evening. Lewis Oliver has checked into the game for the Gators, number 18 at safety on 2nd and 5. Smith again. Across midfield and close to the first down at the 48-yard line where Jerry Odom makes a stop. He is a 4th-year junior, so if he would so choose, as he's had good numbers against the Gators the last 2 years, he could be eligible for the NFL draft next year.
And I think he'll go because one of the reasons why he'll go is that Sanders, as I said in the opening, will win the Heisman Trophy. He can't win that. Number 2, running backs are always afraid, Roger, of ripping their knees up. And when they rip their knees up, they're done. So I think Smith will go to the pros after the bowl game against Auburn.
3rd and 1. Dane Williams, first down, Seminoles. Florida State, 6th in scoring offense in the country, averaging 39 points a game. Dane Williams, short yardage man, a senior from Leesburg, good blocker.
It's an important factor to have a man like Williams in the backfield when you got a superstar like Smith, because there's only one ball, and you can't give it to both guys, so you got to give it to Smith, and Williams has got to block.
Bruce Lassane and Dawson split to the near side on 1st and 10. Blitz by Florida. Smith. Sammy Smith to the 37-yard line. Kerry Watkins makes a tackle after the gain of 9. He's a big, strong running back with good moves, and when he's healthy, he's as good as anybody.
And he's got nice blocking there. Number 62, Kuipers, really does a nice job of moving his man back. 72, Cumberland, 6'4", 305, moves the whole left side back. And then comes Smith. Nice little movement. Notice the 2 great runs by the Smith guys. It looks like it's a battle between Sammy Smith and Everett Smith for who's going to be the star of this game.
2nd and 1. Dane Williams inside the 35 to the 33 in Florida State. They got themselves another first down as Tim Paulk, 99, a freshman from Miami, made the tackle. I'm just wondering with Sammy Smith if he has a big game tonight and then maybe a big Sugar Bowl, if maybe he wouldn't decide to come back for another year. That would give him the impetus to come back and have a great season as Florida State offensively 6th in the nation, as we mentioned, in scoring offense, 13th in passing offense, and 14th in total offense. Smith, 5 carries and 24 yards, 1st and 10 from the 33. Sammy Smith. Good tackle on the far side at the 32-yard line by Kerry Watkins, a junior from Pensacola. He's only 5'10" and 191, but he stood Smith straight up and drove him out of bounds.
The interesting thing about the play calling now by Bobby Bowden is that he's actually challenging the University of Florida at their strength. In other words, they're supposed to be great defensive people against the run. Let's find out, Bobby said, if you're good enough to stop us.
Do you study generals? Did you do that when you were a coach and battles? And
I never did that as much as guys like Bowden and Woody Hayes, but I think they really do believe that that helps them.
2nd down and 9. Ferguson. Oh, nearly picked off. Bill Lang, the free safety, was right over there as the pass was intended for Terry Anthony, and Lang had nothing but green grass in front of him.
And Lang, who had 9 tackles against Florida State last year, is from Castleberry, Florida. But you know what? I never did like guys to wear gloves in 90-degree temperature. He's got blue gloves on as if it were playing the Minnesota Vikings up in Minnesota. I can't believe that.
You made your point, that's for sure. 3rd down and 9. Penalty markers down. Ferguson. Oh, he's got him at the 15-yard line. That's Ronald Lewis. There's another penalty marker down, one at the line of scrimmage, which was Florida offsides, and another marker down around the 15-yard line. Bill Lang made the stick there on Ronald Lewis, 17 yards.
If they're both live ball fouls.
Offside on the defense. Holding on the defense.
It's against Florida, so they're both penalties. Now, we got number 7. Lewis finds the open spot, but he gets hit by Lang from the inside. What Florida State does better than anybody, they read coverages. They read this as a zone, Lewis did, and he found up a little spot to hook in, and he knows he's going to get hit, but he still catches the football.
They distribute their offense very well. Lewis now with 25 catches on the year. Dawsey, 16 receptions. 31 for Anthony, 22 Lassane, O'Malley, the tight end, 14. They called themselves the 3 Amigos at one time, the wide receiver. But when they had the addition of Dawsey, the sophomore, well, they had to come up with another. They're just 4 great ones is what they call it. 1st and 10 now, Florida State. Down the middle, wide open, touchdown, Tom O'Malley. Second touchdown reception of the year for the senior from Darien, Connecticut, 15 yards.
from the end zone. You're going to watch this. It's coming right into your living room. It's a nice little bootleg, which means you're going to fake Smith one way. Number 92, O'Malley, gets right in the seam. If you notice, he got right between the two defensive backs. Number 4, Watkins, recovered, but not quick enough. Touchdown, O'Malley.
Richie Andrews makes the extra point. And 4:56 to go. First quarter, Florida State leads it by a touchdown.
Partners in integrity, linked by a heritage of quality you'll know by this prism, the hallmark of your official Rolex jeweler. See the most complete selection of the timepiece that sets a world standard of achievement. With a warranty and service backed by 8 decades of Rolex experience. So if you're looking for a Rolex watch, look for this hallmark at your official Rolex jeweler.
Available at Sam S. Champel Jewelers.
Hi.
Hi.
Charlie, is there something you wanted to tell me?
Yes. I'm making Mall Chevrolet the ideal dealership. One like the customer's never seen before. A dealership of the future, unique in every way. Outstanding service, savings, and specials. Everything the customer's been looking for, and more. The prices at Mall Chevrolet will always
For Charlie Falk, selling cars is a passion.
Boy, you have beautiful eyes.
Sure you want to break the mood?
Advanced Volvo EVA requires some technical assistance to properly show its multi-link independent rear suspension, the brain center of its anti-lock braking system, the power of an intercooled turbo, and the engineering responsible for its driver's side airbag. But the Volvo 780 isn't just state-of-the-art, it's art.
This is gator meat. Now, when they serve it in Gainesville at restaurants near the campus, it is a delicacy. But when they eat it in Tallahassee, it has a different meaning. They love to devour gator meat here. The football team had it for Thanksgiving dinner along with their turkey. Let's see if the students like it. Here we go. I think they like it, guys. Look upstairs.
Okay, thank you very much. Chris, short line drive kick and an up back for Florida. That's Curtis White. It's dropped at the 23-yard line. Make it the 24, excuse me.
Replays of the touchdown. Watch the bait. Number 33, Smith is the bait. Fake Ferguson to the right. He throws to O'Malley in the middle. Touchdown. Now, watch number 60. Number 60, Morris, pulls out there and gets a good block on this one. You'll see him on the top hand, left-hand side of your picture. Watch. Number 60 pulls out, gets a good block right here, but Ferguson rolls out, and he pays for this one, but let me tell you something. It was worth the hit by Weston for the touchdown for Florida State.
Ferguson 6 of 7, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns as McGriff goes in motion. 1st and 10 for Florida. Intercepted. Intercepted at the 25-yard line. John Hadley, the senior outside linebacker from Orlando, with his first interception of the year.
Morris goes back. Remember we talked about the show that we were going to try to get the ball to Emmitt Smith? A little bit too much this time. They threw the ball right to Hadley, who had perfect coverage. Now notice the eyes of Morris. He was bird dogging, or he was looking at Smith the entire way, and that's why Hadley could get the interception.
17 interceptions on the year for the Florida State secondary as Hadley gets his first pick. And the Noles, 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Dane Williams right at the middle. They've established him on the inside as he gets down to the 21-yard line. And Londy Weston, 68, makes the tackle. They've been able to establish that inside game with a quick handoff to Williams. And then Smith has done his thing, a little sidestep to the outside. They've had a nice complementary offense this evening, Lee.
Bobby Bowden, as I said at the beginning of the show, he calls as good a game as there anybody in college football. He keeps them off balance. That's the secret to Bowden's mind.
Anthony and Lewis split to the near side on 2nd and 7. Sammy Smith. Inside the 15. Look at him carry people down to the 10-yard line. First down, Florida State. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
All right, Roger, we're going to keep it in the intrastate mode from Florida to Arizona. Arizona State's Bruce Perkins goes 45 yards for a touchdown, and the Sun Devils lead Arizona 12-7. Hard to believe one of those two Pac-10 teams isn't in a bowl. Only 3 Pac-10 teams in bowl games. 5 out of the Big Ten are going, Roger.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, both those teams with 6-4 records, and Arizona's dominated that series in recent years. We got 1st and 10 here at the 11-yard line. Smith inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. 3:33 left to go, first quarter.
Bobby Bowden has got one thing going for him that is really hurting Florida right now. He's got so many weapons in his arsenal. He's got a quarterback that can throw. He's got wideouts that can catch. He's got a great fullback up the middle, and he's got a superstar named Smith. I mean, it's almost physically impossible to stop Bobby Bowden with his imagination when he's got great players.
Lewis splits to the near side on 2nd and 7. Going to Anthony. No good. Kerry Watkins, who's played a whale of a game so far, was over on the coverage for the Gators of Florida.
Number 4, Watkins from Pensacola against Anthony, number 8 from Daytona Beach. A nice little play-action play, faking that ball to Smith again. He drills the ball, Ferguson does. Nice play right there by Watkins, who strikes and takes the ball away from Anthony at the last minute.
There's a look at Kerry Watkins. Chip Ferguson, by the way, missed that South Carolina game, and all Peter Tom Willis did was come in and lead them to a 59-0 victory. That's depth, 3rd and 7. They completed nearly 50% of their 3rd down opportunities this year, and Sammy Smith will high-step a touchdown, Florida State. Touchdown reception of the year for Sammy Smith, his 3rd touchdown pass tonight.
If you'll notice on the right-hand side of your picture, Smith is wide open. You'll say, I wonder why he's wide open. The outside man went to the inside, and 2 Florida men took the bait. Smith went in for the touchdown. Can you imagine how good the University of Miami Hurricanes must be to shut these guys out?
Richie Andrews is good for the 3rd time. 2:56 to go, first quarter. Florida State leads Florida 21-7. Be with us tomorrow, NFL Game Day. Of course, Chris and Tom and Axe. And then at 7 Eastern Time, NFL Primetime. John Saunders will join the crew. Keep you up to date on everything that's happening in the NFL. And then, of course, at 8 o'clock, Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, the New York Giants, and the New Orleans Saints down in New Orleans for our NFL game.
And when you're watching that, excuse me, Raj, when you're watching that game, you'll see a similar offense than Florida State used. That's why a lot of pro owners are looking at Bobby Bowden to be the next pro football coach out of college football.
But he has told us he's not interested in the pro job. He was interested in the Alabama job, though, a couple of years ago.
He would have taken it in a heartbeat. In fact, he told us that on Friday night prior to the announcement of Curry being the coach that they offered him the job. He got up the next morning and didn't have the job. You know, understand why. Not that he doesn't like Florida State.
But he's from Birmingham.
They're Alabama. I mean, he's an Alabama guy. He's got Alabama blood in him.
There's Richie Andrews. He's a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale. There are so many kids in this game that have played against each other in high school. I mean, some of them are seeing each other for the 8th, 9th year in a row. And that's a short kickoff that's going to bounce out of bounds on the near side, so they'll do it all over again. They talk about high school football talent in different parts of the country. The 3 states that immediately come to mind are Florida, California, and Texas. But Florida, with so many kids on the Florida State, Florida, and Miami rosters in state, and then you look around at Big Ten teams and the independents up east. It's an amazing place, isn't it, Lee, for high school football?
And one of the reasons why is they have spring practice here. People don't understand that spring practice is very important if you're going to become a greater football player because it gives you more time to practice. Other states do not have spring practice, and that's why they're behind in Florida people.
I'm sure glad they didn't where I was from. I never liked spring practice anyway. Chip Ferguson's had it. Just 2 incompletions so far tonight. 8 of 9, 3 touchdown passes.
He's so wide open, you can see why did they break the coverage? The coverage was broken because of a finely designed play that sent the outside man, see the outside man go the inside, and that's why he's wide open. But the thing I liked about Smith right there, and his price just went up, did you notice the way he caught that ball with his hands?
5 plays, 24 yards, 1 minute and 49 seconds on the interception by Hadley, and then Smith, the 8-yard reception from Ferguson. Ferguson, 7 of 9, 3 touchdowns, as Andrews, another kind of angling soccer-style kick, and I don't know what the problem is with the kickoffs tonight, Lee, but neither guy has really hit it very well.
Well, one of the problems with that kickoff is the fact of trying to keep the ball away from number 20, Lomack, who almost went all the way, and they're getting a little bit too fancy.
Well, Florida's 7th in the nation in kickoff returns. They average over 23 yards a return, but do you ever get to the point where you really... Can you avoid a guy? I mean, do you have a kicker that's that good that he can angle the ball to a certain spot?
Most of the time you don't, but if you do, you don't kick the kind of kick he's kicking. You kick a squib kick that goes down on the line. Galen Hall just got a first down.
Lomax's first return was for 46 yards, and we appreciate the support. We were mentioning the homegrown players. Now, this includes kickers, 20 of 24 for Florida. You see the out-of-staters there. Florida State starts 21 of 24, and the out-of-staters, Ferguson's from North Carolina, O'Malley's from Connecticut, and Gabbard from North Carolina. Richardson's from Atlanta, Armstrong's from Birmingham. They're close by. But it is the hotbed of high school football, and Kyle Morris is from Mississippi, so he's not too far away.
Yeah, and his dad played for the University of Florida. Does that count?
Absolutely. It's like you never left. So Andrews will try it again. Now you've got Lomax standing at the 15-yard line. I don't know. I think you ought to just try to kick it down there as far as you can, huh? Now Lomax, well, the up-back's going to take it. That's Curtis White. That's the second return he's had. Now penalty marker goes down at the 32-yard line. Marion Butts came down to make the tackle on the special teams. So they got a couple of penalties for kicking it out of bounds, and then a penalty flag thrown on the return.
On the run back, 15 yards.
Buddy Ward's the referee, Tommy Rose the umpire.
Watch the pursuit. Count the number of men in garnet jerseys after number 31. Butts makes the hit. You'll see a whole bunch of garnet standing around them.
What'd you look for in a special teams player, your headhunter, so to speak?
Well, first of all, he probably didn't have very good grades. And the second, he's usually in the linebacker position.
1st and 10 for the Gators at the 16-yard line. Morris is checking off now at the line of scrimmage. Emmitt Smith. He's to the 19. Did you see how Morris had to walk over and get behind his guard and tackle and tell him what was happening? Because the noise is so loud here tonight at Doak Campbell Stadium.
He thinks the noise is loud there. Wait till he gets to the other end where the Florida State fans are. They're quiet. Listen, he's at the Florida side right now.
Little fans here on this Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving. We're glad to be back from Ireland. We had a good time over there. And hope you're enjoying the game so far tonight. 21-7, first quarter. 2nd and 6 for the Gators. Emmitt Smith at the 21-yard line. Eric Hayes, 78. And also coming up to help out on the tackle was number 53, Odell Higgins. And now they seem to know what Florida is going to do, because Florida has been giving the ball every time to Emmitt Smith.
One of the things Florida's doing, though, that I like is they're not panicking. You know, it's 21-7. They don't throw the ball just every down, because it could be 28-7, and they'll really be behind the 8 ball.
3rd down and 4. 3 wide receivers now for the Gators. Fumble. Morris picks it up. He's got time. Well, he was trying to get it to Willie Snead, number 9, on the far right side, and he overthrew him. So a miscue between Kyle Morris and Tracy Daniels.
You see Galen Hall on the sideline that time. He aged 1 year on this play. When that ball was bouncing around, he was fortunate enough to pick it up. He kept his composure and threw it out of bounds so they could punt the ball.
John Francis will punt. He's averaging 36 yards a punt. He's standing at the 7-yard line. And primetime Deion Sanders is going to have a chance to show you all what he can do. Just take a look. To the 39-yard line.
And that was with no blocking.
Brent Ellis brought him down 48 yards on the punt. Look at Sanders, first in the nation. He's brought a couple back for touchdowns.
The amazing thing about Sanders is the fact if you look at after he catches the ball, there's no Garnet jerseys. They try to block all the punts, and that leaves him with nobody there to help block him. But he gets away from 2, 3. Well, the 6th man finally got him.
That's the first time we've called his name tonight. He has been in there on defense, folks, but they don't even bother going near him. He's that good. 1st and 10 from the 39. Ferguson going for his wide out Bruce Lesane, and Kerry Watkins, who seems to be everywhere tonight for the Gators defensively, was on the coverage.
Watkins, number 4, is going to the short side of the field, and Florida State right now is picking on the short side of the Florida defense because they're a half a man short to that side.
2nd and 10. This has been a long first quarter, hasn't it? Gosh. That's Dexter Carter, number 13, who's come in to give Sammy Smith a rest. Carter's a junior from Baxley, Georgia. Much different sort of back. He's only 5'9", 168 pounds, but so far this year, he's averaged 6 yards per carry with over 320 yards now rushing on 53 carries.
He's got 4.34 speed, one of the fastest men ever to play at Florida State University.
It's 3rd and 8 now. 32 seconds left to go first quarter. He had a good game last year against the Gators. Draw play. Doesn't get much. Carter was the ball carrier, but he didn't get very far at all. Nicoletto, 49, was right there on him. And also was 68, Rondi Weston. And that'll bring up a punting situation for the Seminoles of Florida State. And the end of the first quarter, Florida State leads at 21-7. There's 35 yards of punt this year as neither punt. And the end of the first quarter, Florida State leads at 21-7.
By signing up now in the Army's delayed entry program, any skill training I choose is mine when I graduate. Guaranteed.
Be all that you can be. Get it on life in the Army.
Don Mallard, captain of the U.S. video game team.
When I'm not going for high scores in the arcades, I'm home playing games on my Atari 7800. As an expert, I like the 7800 because there are great arcade hits like Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong Jr., adventure games like Impossible Mission, sports games like Hat Trick and Real Sports Baseball, action games like Desert Falcon and Karateka, and the 7800 plays all the 2600 games. As a consumer, I like the 7800 because most games cost under 20 bucks.
The Atari 7800, the choice of the experts. How does the CFO of Porsche stay ahead of the competition? AT&T. For the highest performance long-distance service, make sure you hear.
Thank you for using AT&T.
When the president of Walt Disney World goes around the world, how does he get back to Main Street, USA? AT&T. For easy access to our operators from overseas, make sure you hear.
AT&T USA Direct, may I help you?
When unexpected events leave you battered, bruised, and bewildered, it's soothing to know that MetLife works hard to pay your claim promptly. Get Met, it pays.
I'll show you a morning like you've never seen. I'll show you a land where there's still room to dream. And you'll find the wonders that I've always known, 'cause I call Australia home.
ESPN is your ticket to the NFL when the Giants and Saints go head-to-head. The Giants' tailor-made defense looks to cut down the opposition after last week's unbelievable game. The Saints continue their march toward their first division title. The New York Giants and New Orleans Saints battle head-to-head on NFL Sunday Night Football at 8 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Tim Corlew averaging just 35 yards a punt this year, as neither punter on either team really doing much. Kerry Watkins back at the 10-yard line for the Gators as Corlew at the 5 yards a punt this year, as neither punter on either team really doing much. Kerry Watkins back at the 10-yard line for the Gators as Corlew at the 27. I'll tell you what, Florida was coming hard that time. Watkins at the 17. And he is stuck at the 20-yard line. The first man to hit him there was David Whittington. Let's go down to Chris Fowler.
Okay, Roger. That's Jeff Roth, the nose tackle for Florida, behind me. He took an eye, or rather a finger to the eyes, had an ice pack on his face. There you see the ice pack. Doctors say they're going to check it out. He may be able to go back in there. It's not a serious injury, but you know how painful that can be to get a finger in the eye.
I'll tell you, when you're a nose tackle, you get a lot of things in your face.
And that's why a lot of the linemen now are going to those Darth Vader shields, so they don't have to get hit in the eye with fingers.
We start the second quarter. Florida State leads at 21-7, and the Gators have it 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line. Lomax in motion. Morris. It was caught. It was caught on the far side by Lomax, and they say no, he was not in bounds. The pass was tipped. Lomax was able to catch it, but they said that he was not in bounds. Stan Shiver was the man over there on the coverage. First quarter rushing yards, 18 for the Gators, 51 for the Seminoles. Passing yards, 31 and 81. You see the totals, 132 to 49, but that's a lot better than Florida's done in a lot of games this year.
The reason is also they're getting a little bit better balance with Smith in the throwing game. They just can't get too conservative because Morris threw an interception. Don't worry about it. Throw it again.
2nd and 10. Willie McClendon, the freshman from Jacksonville, gets maybe a yard. Steve Gabbard, the senior from Charlotte. Excuse me, Concord, North Carolina, makes a tackle. This is how the scoring went. Dawsey, the 18-yard touchdown pass from Ferguson. Florida State led it. Then Emmitt Smith on the 1-yard run on a 4th down play tied it up at 7. And then they went back to the arm of Chip Ferguson. He hit his tight end O'Malley from 15 yards out. And then the 8-yard touchdown reception by Sammy Smith. That's where we're at. It's 3rd down and 9 for the Gators. Lomax in motion. Penalty marker. Morris is dumped, and it was Shiver, 37, who came busting through to drop him. That's his 4th sack of the year, but another penalty marker was thrown. Shiver might have got a piece of the face mask.
Illegal motion on the offense. Face mask on the defense. Offset, replay the down, 3rd down.
So they'll do it again.
What happens on a penalty, if they're both live ball penalties, then they negate each other and they'll do it again.
That's McGriff, the tight end.
It's a left hook. Looked like Boom Boom Mancini hitting him with a shot.
Camacho. Howard Dinkins, the young man who was injured earlier, has a sprained neck and will not return tonight. 3rd down and 9 again from the 23. Across the middle. And yes, it is a reception. Lomax was there to make the great catch at the 30, but it's going to be short of the 1st down. Kelvin Smith, the inside backer, was on the coverage.
Lomax, number 20, comes from the outside. He gets good pass protection, Morris does. As he throws the ball a little bit too low, outstretched hands, great catch by Lomax, but the short by 2 yards. Now, you got to be careful when you punt the ball against Florida State because they're famous for blocking them.
Francis at the 15, and of course, you just saw Deion Sanders. He's going to have a chance on this one. There's a hole. Oh, he just got tripped up and a penalty marker's down, and he knew he almost had something. A penalty marker is down 36 yards on that low line drive punt. Deion Sanders, first in the nation in punt returns. He's brought 2 back for touchdowns so far this year.
Remember, he was talking about what he's a great pro he's going to be for those 3 reasons?
Flipping on the receiving team, 15 yards.
Well, he's already said, Deion Sanders, he wants 4 years, $4.5 million, because he's a defensive back, a punt returner, and an entertainer. 21-7, Florida State leads it.
The drive is on. Mazda's year-end sales drive. It's already the biggest sales year in Mazda history, but your Mazda dealer wants to close it out with a bang. So he's making remarkable year-end deals on 323s, on 626s, even on the red-hot MX-6. So get to your Mazda dealers today and drive one home. Come drive a Mazda. The year-end sales drive ends soon. See your local Mazda dealer now.
Rainy nights aren't much fun, except when it's pouring inside. Shouldn't your night belong to Michelob Light?
I think it's important that customers challenge us because it's key that I can prove to them that what we offer is the best for their business. If you read an ad that says you're going to save 20 or 30% by going to somebody else and you call me first, then that's the best reaction I'm looking for, because then I can show you how you're not going to save 20 to 30%. And if every customer called AT&T before they did anything, we'd have very few customers going to the competition.
Wanted, NFL seeks brilliant coach. Can you outsmart your opponent with a strategy you plan from 20 offensive and 12 defensive play formations? Well, here's your proving ground. With over 200 NFL highlights, play action VCR football from Epix.
ESPN's presentation of CFA football is brought to you by Mazda and the exciting new Mazda cars and trucks for 1989. By the GE rechargeable battery system. One GE rechargeable battery can be used over and over again for up to 4 years. And by the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. 1st and 10, Florida State at their 25-yard line. Sammy Smith to the 30-yard line. A gain of 5 for the junior. So they've alternated backs, and of course Bobby Bowden has done that throughout the year. He hasn't just given the ball to one man and let him go the whole night. He'll bring in Carter. Also Chris Parker, a freshman from Jacksonville, who's done awfully well for him this season.
Well, it's interesting. We had a chance to spend some time with Bobby yesterday, Bobby Bowden, but he also has 3 sons, Terry, Jeff, and Tommy, all football coaches.
2nd and 4. Sammy Smith again. To the 36-yard line and a Florida State first down. Lewis Oliver, the senior from Belle Glade, who goes 6'2" and 222, finally stopped him. Oh, he looks like a good-looking running back tonight, doesn't he, Lee?
He's a strong running back. They're knocking the Florida people right off the line. Number 65, Haynes, has got Armstrong to the backside and keeping him backside. Now, look, one of the things you got to understand about Florida, this is a fine defensive front they're running against, but Florida State's also got a great offensive line. Number 18, Oliver.
Hurt his elbow again, Lee. You know, he's had that dislocated elbow. He hurt that in the Auburn game, which we had, but he continued to play throughout that game, and then he didn't play against Georgia. Wasn't supposed to play against Kentucky a couple weeks ago, but played the whole game. And Galen Hall told us yesterday that he wasn't going to play, but as you said, he's a senior. It's Florida State. Enough said, right?
Enough said.
That's a first down for the Seminoles. 1st and 10 now at the 36-yard line. Smith cuts it back to the right. Can he get outside? Sammy Smith to midfield. 14 yards on the pickup before Kerry Watkins finally makes the tackle. I thought I was watching Gale Sayers there for a moment.
Now you can understand the frustration of Sammy Smith not being able to win the Heisman. He's a great player. He goes to the right. He stopped, goes to the left. Now, you know, Bobby Bowden's got a bunch of tricks, but not this one in his playbook. This is just a great athlete from Zellwood, Florida. What a great move. Now, notice one thing also. Notice how he changed the ball. Oh, what a
11
well-coached
carries,
football player.
63 yards for Sammy Smith. 1st and 10 from the 50 as Ferguson. Far side, he's got his tight end O'Malley to the 33-yard line where Bill Lang knocked him out of bounds, and the senior, the 5th-year senior from Darien, Connecticut. 17 yards on the reception, and he's had a big night so far.
Also, both of his parents are from Ireland. You think maybe they watched that game?
Where was he last week?
He's watching our game.
The 5th-year seniors, by the way, you're talking about spring practice, did not have to go through spring practice at Florida State.
You know why?
That's a special thing that Bobby Bowden has for him.
The only reason is Bobby's got so many good football players, he can afford to keep them out of spring practice so we can look at the young ones.
1st and 10 from the 33. Carter, Dexter Carter to the 26-yard line. Boy, that's 2 different looks. You've got Sammy Smith, who's big and strong, and he kind of sits back and he watches his blockers. And then you got Dexter Carter, who's only 5'8", and you look for him and you can't see him at all.
The secret to this game is that Armstrong, Roth, and Weston, the 3 fine defensive players from Florida, call themselves the war zone, are getting bombed. They're just getting blown off the ball by the offensive line from Florida. State has just got them control up front, and he who controls the line of scrimmage usually wins.
2nd and 3. Dane Williams to the 19-yard line on a nifty piece of running by the big fullback. Owen Bartrip stops him after the gain of 7 yards. And I thought those big guys were supposed to be north-south. He did a little east-west on us there.
Nice balance attack. Smith, Ferguson, O'Malley, Carter, Williams. You're calling the whole team. That's what makes a job like Galen Hall has to try to stop these guys almost impossible.
Lewis Oliver is checked back into the game. 1st and 10 from the 19. That was Carter again. Trace Armstrong, and we haven't called his name tonight. 93, he's a senior, 6'4", and 268 from Birmingham, Alabama. Transfer from Arizona State University. Really a rather unusual, might be even a precedent-setting move. A high school transcript which was fouled up about 5 years ago. As you see, he did something this year that no one else in Florida history has done on a defensive line, but he could play anywhere in the country this year except Arizona State, so he transferred to Florida. 2nd and 7 at the 16. And the Gators jump offside, and Carter will take it up the middle as penalty flags go down. But back to that Trace Armstrong story. There was a transcript problem out of high school. It was discovered. It was being worked on. There was a change in the coaching staff at Arizona State. And by the time the new coaching staff discovered
outside, on the defense,
and notified the NCAA, they had to do something on it, so they said you can go anywhere else and be eligible immediately. If you stay at Arizona State, you've got to sit out of here. This guy might be the first defensive lineman taken in the NFL draft.
And the pros will get a good chance to look at him because he's playing in 2 All-Star games. He's playing in the Hula Bowl and the Senior Bowl, and the pro scouts like to go to those games and pick their #1 draft picks.
So the penalty against Florida, and it's now 2nd and 2 from the 11-yard line. Lewis and Anthony are the wide receivers. Dane Williams inside the 10, and he should have enough for the first down as he follows Michael Tanks and Mike Morris and Joey Ionata, the left side of that offensive line.
You get a shot to watch at number 93, Armstrong, in isolation. There's a little pulling trap. He does a little stunt play, comes all the way around, and makes a good play. But the problem with Trace Armstrong right now is not Trace Armstrong. It's the fact that Florida State has so many weapons that Trace Armstrong and the rest of his friends have no idea where Florida State's going to hit him.
Well, part of Florida's best offense has been their defense this year, but it's now 21-7, 8-10 left to go first half. Florida State getting ready to knock it in again. And other than the Kentucky game where they came from behind in the second half, Florida has not done that this year. on 1st and goal from the 8, and it's Dane Williams again, right up the middle. Pat Moore, who's the leading tackler for the Gators, makes the stop. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
Rogers, some wild happenings in Cactus Country. Take a look at this. Ronald Veal, with time running out into the half. Little Hail Mary. And it's deflected into the air and caught by Derek Hill. A 55-yard touchdown reception. The Wildcats take a 3-point lead at the half over Arizona State. Roger?
Whoa, that's a wild one out there at 10. It usually is. 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. Ferguson nailed at the 14 by Joey Nicoletto. He was looking for Dane Williams out in the flat, had an idea to throw it, decided to keep it, and it was the wrong decision.
Nice little bootleg play. 93, Trace Armstrong forces this play by getting penetration. If you look at the top left-hand side of your picture, he gets penetration, which forces Ferguson a little wider, and Nicoletto, number 49, comes up and delivers a blow. They need this play because if Florida State gets hot, they could blow you out. Ask South Carolina, 59-0.
3rd down and goal from the 12. Sammy Smith inside. Sammy Smith to the 2-yard line. And he was stuck right there by Lewis Oliver. And you want to talk about 2 evenly matched athletes meeting head on. We had it right there.
There's Trace Armstrong playing the outside. They chop block him. They knock him on his legs. And there Oliver, watch Oliver, number 18, hit Smith, number 33. This is a major league play right there. And the guy's got a dislocated left elbow. What a magnificent effort. He forces the field goal.
Florida State has sent in Bill Mason to attempt the field goal. And from 18 yards out, he's good. And the Seminoles lead it 24-7.
Approaching landing zone. Prepare to land.
Let's move. Got a connection to make.
Give the Army Signal Corps 30 minutes, and they can turn a mountaintop into a satellite communication station. Qualify for training like this, and you'll learn to work with some of the most exciting high-tech electronics around.
Roger, Bravo 2-6. Loud and clear.
We got him. Goodbye.
All that you can
Did well. We're well connected, Sergeant.
find your future in the Army.
In order to make gathering around your fireplace more enjoyable this holiday season, remember to gather around ours first. Look for the Michelob holiday display at a store near you.
You might expect a guy who flies a jet like this to drive a jet like this, the Mazda MX-6 GT. If you also expect it to fly through the wide open spaces, you're right. But you probably don't expect to find all this wide open space inside. I guess that makes it the one sports coupe which flies in the face of convention. The Mazda MX-6 GT, sports coupe the Mazda way.
Now there's a baseball game with all the sounds, all the action, and the challenge of the real game. Introducing play-by-play talking baseball. The best game next to the real game.
Roger Twibble, Lee Corso, and Chris Fowler with you at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, where the Seminoles have a 24-7 lead. And Richie Andrews kicks it off, and Lomax, they fake the reverse, and Lomax got room to the near side. At the 40-yard line, he's knocked out of bounds, 34 yards on the return. Let's go down to Chris Fowler. Chris? Well, the Gators will take it now. 1st and 10 with 5:52, and this is critical, Lee, for them to get something on the board here.
At least 3. 24-10 not bad. Lomax is an excellent kickoff man. He's a returner. That's why they were giving those kicks before.
Barber and Sneed split to the top of your screen on 1st and 10 from the 40. Now Morris is checking off at the line of scrimmage. And a penalty marker goes down. He's got a man wide open, and it was Willie Sneed on the far side.
The penalty will be on Emmitt Smith. He was going in motion, but he didn't stop a full second. And that's why it'll be illegal procedure.
Illegal motion on the offense.
Chris Fowler, go ahead.
Okay, Roger, I'm with Officer Beechman of the Tallahassee Police. You'd expect policemen to be calm and professional. These guys are cheering like crazy for Florida State. Why?
Well, when I wear blue, I'm calm and professional, but at this game, it's the game, and I believe garnet and gold, so it's a little hard. Any other game, it's all right, but this game, it's a little hard.
Can't be neutral tonight.
Not tonight, no.
Expect extra duty because you got all these Gator and Seminole fans together?
Yeah, there are a lot of Gators in town. We expect extra duty, and most of us are Seminoles anyway. We try to remain impartial, but it's impossible tonight.
Okay, fellas, there was a riot in 82, so there's potential for some excitement here tonight. Back to you.
Okay, 1st and 15 after the penalty, and that's Emmett Smith, who's to the 39-yard line. I guess the byword tonight is, Lee, whether you're a Gator or Seminole fan, wear that scarlet and gold, and they'll just kind of let you go on by, huh?
Anywhere. But remember, it's the same kind of treatment when you get over to Gainesville. Those guys are blue and gold.
Emmett Smith went over 1,000 yards earlier than any back in collegiate history. Of course, he's had an injury-plagued season, hurt his knee against Memphis State, missed a couple of games, didn't play much against Georgia. And it's 2nd down and 11 now, with 5:13 to go, first half. A screen over to the far side, Emmett Smith. And a good play over there. Kurt Carruthers, a freshman from East Lansing, Michigan, was able to knock him out of bounds. Let's go to Tim.
Roger, I'm going to show you what could be a dying rivalry. LSU and Tulane. The Green Wave has a fine quarterback. They have had one all year. Terrence Jones. There he goes, 30 yards for a touchdown. The athletic directors of these two schools are at odds over where this game should be played and the payout on gate receipts. Let's get back to Roger.
Oh, you'd hate to see that rivalry end. You got to keep a little tradition in the game, don't you, Lee?
Absolutely.
3rd and 9 from the 41. Morris, boy, his receiver, Terrence Barber, never turned around, and Barber is pointing in the direction of Tracy Sanders and says that he was interfered with, and they're going to say the ball wasn't catchable.
You cannot have pass interference without a catchable ball. The Seminoles put on a full blitz, really put a lot of pressure. Number 3, Barber, is man-on-man with number 16, Trace Sanders. Sanders has got good football position. The ball is thrown, non-catchable. Now, the question is, was it non-catchable because Sanders knocked him off course?
Good point. I think that's what Galen Hall is trying to get across. Francis at his 27-yard line, and Deion Sanders is back at the 24. Good job by the Florida special teams as Sanders is not getting to go anywhere. And there's penalty flags now as some John led to some pushing and shoving. And, hey, Sanders has got to expect that.
What happened all week, Sanders talked about what he was going to do against the Gators, and it looked like that time one of the Gators just took him and probably either twisted his knee or twisted his ankle, and Sanders probably kicked him back, and both guys yelled at each other, and it should be a penalty against both teams.
It looked like it was number 38 for the Florida Gators, and that's Willie McGrady. Yeah, see, he's down on the ground, and the guy's turning his ankle around. And Deion's saying, look, man, I already got some money in the bank from the Yankees. You know, I got to go to spring training. He goes, and then he's going to make a decision about his football career.
Well, you know, that's one of the few times that the Gators can hit Sanders. He's back to 15 yards talking all the
Dead
time.
ball, personal foul on the return. Dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team. Offset, he's first down.
How many times has that happened this year? About 20? Hey, Lee, you and I ought to be here. Well, we're glad to be here, but in Maui, the semifinals, the Maui Classic, Oklahoma and UNLV, and then Michigan and Memphis State beginning tonight at 11:30 Eastern Time in Oklahoma. I think has a good shot at the national championship again.
Ohio State almost beat them last night on ESPN. It was a terrific game.
That's a great tournament. I was over there for that tournament the last couple of years, and
number 2.
They had a great time at the Lahaina Civic Center. 24-7, Florida State leads Florida here with 4:48 to go. First half. Ferguson now checking off at the line of scrimmage. Sammy Smith. And he's across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Tony McCoy, a sophomore from Orlando, number 71, who's checked into the game, was in on the tackle. There's a look at McCoy right there. He backs up Rondi Weston. Tim Brando, Bino Cook, all the scores and highlights. Will be along at halftime. 2nd and 7, and the penalty markers go down. I think that time Florida was kind of faking a blitz, and one of the offensive linemen for Florida State moved. And
good call, right?
Good ball. False start on the offense.
Those defensive players are pretty good actors sometimes, and the offensive linemen bite on it occasionally.
Remember, if an offensive lineman puts his hand down, he cannot move it at all. Now, see the right guard? The right guard, 62, Kuipers, just moved his head and his hand, and that caused the penalty.
That's why I always felt it was better to just go up line of scrimmage with your hands on your knees and then have at it. And then if you do stutter, you can just go down and put your hand down, right?
Some people like that up stance, Roger, because they can pass protect better that way. But Florida State, if you'll notice, will drop down, and they're in a 3-point stance.
2nd and 12. Ferguson throwing to the far side, and it's intercepted. Intercepted on the far side by Richard Fain. 3rd interception of the year for Fain, who just happens to be the man that nicknamed Deion Sanders primetime.
He also is the man that intercepted the key pass against LSU to turn the game around. Watch it. Number 5, Ferguson gets a good rollout. He bird dogs. Notice how he was watching all the way, and there comes Spain with great closing speed and intercepts the ball. The big thing about that, he got the ball. Good catch.
That was the first rollout action for Ferguson tonight also. 1st and 10 for the Gators at the 35. With a chance to make something happen here in the closing moments of the first half as Emmett Smith trying to hop his way inside the 35 to the 33. Felton Hayes, the weak side linebacker from Brandon, Florida, was there to make sure he didn't go any further. You see Odell Higgins, 53 there. He's been injured a lot this year. Is it a good idea to leave your feet like that on a play like this, Lee?
In this case, in this game, it's a good idea to do anything you can. What he's trying to do is jump over the pile, but he gets hit from all different angles. One of the things I like about Smith so much, that he's so competitive, he's got that good body lean. He's hard to hurt, except if they get him low and he hurts his knee.
9 carries, 24 yards for Emmett Smith. 2nd and 9 now. 2:55 to go, first half. And they go right up the middle to Cedric Smith. His first carry of the night down to the 20-yard line. And that's a Florida first down, 15 yards on the pickup. His very first time to touch the football this evening.
What a great call by Lynn Amity, the offensive coach. They used the same play that Florida State uses, that fullback belly. They used Emmett Smith as the decoy, and boom, off the ball. Daniels made a good block to the inside, but that was a great call by Lynn Amity.
1st and 10 from the 20. Both wide receivers split to the near side. Emmett Smith with a seam. Smith knocked out of bounds at the 10-yard line, and he'll be just shy of the first down. Tracy Sanders was over there.
Emmett Smith's a great football player. You can understand why Florida wasn't very good without him, but they're a terrific team with him. Good block by number 80, McGriff. Watch the stiff arm. All right, a nice little shot at Tracy Sanders. Now, he would love to have this on Deion Sanders, but he gets one of the Sanders anyhow. Terrific forearm by Emmett Smith. Stiff arm.
Just shy of the first down, 2nd and 1 at the 11. Emmett Smith. He's to the 10. He'll have enough for the first down. Let's go to Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, Roger, lots of emotion on this Florida sideline. Emmett Smith, before the last possession, was up in his teammate's face, screaming at him, pointing his finger at him, said, "I've had enough of this. Let's go." Now, the Florida coaches tell me that Willie McGrady, the backup fullback on the special teams there, has been thrown out of the game. We'll check it out, keep you posted, but they're fired up on the Florida side now, Roger.
Thank you very much, Chris. Of course, McGrady was the man that got Deion Sanders and twisted his ankle around. So it's first now, 1st and 10. They can get a first down without scoring as they give it up the middle to Cedric Smith, and he gets a couple. 1:57 left to go. Now Florida State has all 3 of their timeouts remaining, and the same holds true for the University of Florida.
In play calling here, it's very important. Get the ball in Emmitt Smith's hands. Why? They had 4th down. They got hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still score. But whatever Florida has to do, they've got to get at least 3 here, Roger.
They split Emmitt Smith now out to the far side. Now he comes in motion to the near side. Morris throwing across the grain, and there were 2 or 3 players over in that general direction. One of them happened to be Tony Lomack, but he was looking for Emmitt Smith in the far right-hand corner of the end zone. As you see Morris's numbers tonight, he's the guy that came in against Kentucky when they were behind, had a good second half, brought them back for that win, which essentially got Galen Hall an endorsement from the president and athletic director at the University of Florida that he would return next year. He still has 3 years on his contract.
It's an important call. Whatever you do not turn the ball over. Get at least 3 to make it 24-10.
3rd down and 7. Down the middle, and the pass was badly thrown, and Morris was nailed. Stan Shiver was one of the men back there that hit him, and Morris is not getting up.
Shiver, number 37, is the strong safety, and what Florida State did that time, they overload one side, they brought the strong safety blitz and got to the quarterback.
McGriff was the intended receiver, the tight end. The ball was thrown behind him, and Shiver came busting through, and, well, Kyle Morris will be attended to, and we've got a official timeout on the field with 1:19 to go, first half, and of course now on a 4th and 7 from the 7-yard line. The Gators will attempt the field goal, try to cut this thing down to a 14-point deficit.
The trainer for Florida is Chris Patrick. He's the director of athletic training. He's been there since 1970 when he came from the University of Kentucky. He's one of the finest trainers in America. They'll take real good care of Kyle Morris.
And of course, the backup is Herbert Perry, a sophomore from Mayo, Florida, who has alternated this year with Kyle Morris. Morris was a starter earlier in the year, had a hand problem. And while we have this opportunity, we'd like to, of course, give congratulations to the student of the game. Brought to you by the Army, be all you can be, and the student of this game is Florida State quarterback Peter Tom Willis, who just so happened to come in and get a start against South Carolina a few weeks back and lead them to a 59-0 victory. So Peter Tom Willis, our student of the game. Willis, by the way, a 3-point GPA, majoring in math, as John David Francis will come on to attempt the 25-yarder. And it's good. So Francis now 17 of 24 in field goals this year, and it's a 14-point lead. For the Gators.
Quality sells used cars, and at Mike Martin Quality Used Car Center, we will not be undersold.
Like this 83 Toyota Cressida, 4-door, loaded, power windows, power locks, automatic transmission, AM/FM cassette stereo, now $4,600. Or an 85 Chevrolet Silverado pickup, power windows, power steering, power brakes, automatic transmission, just $8,800.
For the best hand-picked cars in town and definitely the lowest prices, come to Mike Martin Quality Used Car Center, Atlanta Highway, Athens, Georgia.
Hi, I'm Joanne Isuzu, Joe's twin sister, and I love these Isuzu Trooper 2s. They're roomy enough for all your wild Indians. Perfect for grocery shopping. And with their optional automatic transmission and more powerful engine, you can drive anywhere. The Isuzu Trooper 2, rugged yet so chic.
Act now and get a $750 factory cash rebate on any Trooper.
You might expect a guy who flies a jet like this to drive a jet like this. The Mazda MX-6 GT. If you also expect it to fly through the wide open spaces, you're right. But you probably don't expect to find all this wide open space inside. I guess that makes it the one sports coupe which flies in the face of convention. The Mazda MX-6 GT, a sports coupe the Mazda way.
John Francis, who just kicked that field goal for the Gators, gets set to kick it off. Gators gets set to kick it off. 1:17 to go, first half. Ross to the 29-yard line, so with 3 timeouts remaining, Florida State can still get something going offensively with a 24-10 lead as the scoring drive. 8 plays, 28 yards, time 2 minutes, 26 seconds, and the 24-yard field goal by Francis, of course, set up by the interception.
Now, most college football teams would go into the shell and try to do a few running plays. Florida State with 112, that's plenty of time. 3 timeouts, that's an eternity. They'll come out and they'll try to get another one.
Reverse. No, they fake it. Smith still has it. Inside the 30, or across the 30, excuse me, to the 32-yard line. Huey Richardson, the outside linebacker from Atlanta, made the tackle, so they gave it to Smith, and he faked it to the receiver, Ronald Lewis, coming around. As the clock continues to run now down to 49 seconds to go.
This really surprises me. I've seen Bobby Bowden, coach against Bobby Bowden when he's at West Virginia twice. I've watched him a lot. I don't think this is the first time I've ever seen him go into a shell with this much time to try to not get another touchdown.
It's curious, isn't it? Are they going to run it again? Sammy Smith is dragged down from behind now. They're up to the 38-yard line. And about a yard shy of the first down, Trace Armstrong made the tackle. And with those timeouts remaining, they're going to continue to let the clock run. And I agree with you, Lee. I'm very surprised at this.
Well, I'm surprised at Bobby Bowden because, first of all, he's got a superior football team. He doesn't want to blow the lead, I know, but he's got Galen Hall on the ropes. But he knows what he's doing.
We've reached halftime at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Florida State holds a 24-10 lead over the... And let's go back to our ESPN studios and Tim Brando. Tim.
All right, Roger and Lee, thank you very much. 24-10, the Seminoles with the lead at the half. Well, this was the day that we would settle a lot of questions looming about college football and its national championship picture as we head for the month of January. Scores and highlights, including the Division I AA, 2 and 3 playoffs, when Bino Cook joins me for our college football halftime report. Florida State leads by 2 touchdowns.
The drive is on. Mazda's year-end sales drive. It's already the biggest sales year in Mazda's history, but your Mazda dealer wants to
go. Andrews to kick it off as Lomax across the 20 to the 23-yard line, where he's tripped up there by Phil Carollo, a backup outside linebacker. And that was a pretty good stick over on the far side.
39 Carollo comes down. He avoids the first man, gets through him. 51 cannot keep him out. Watch when he breaks down here. He breaks down a good football position and falls on the guy. Not bad. It'll look good for his mother watching television. Somebody else really made the tackle.
And Herbert Perry is in there at quarterback. That was Brian Davis, 39, who also was in on that tackle. So 1st and 10, Perry, the new quarterback for the Gators. And they give it to Emmitt Smith right up the middle, across the 25 to the 27. And the Gator possessions, plus yardage gray, minus orange, and the scoring in the yellow.
Nice drive for the first touchdown, but they did very little in between. They had to punt the ball. They punted it again. They punted again. But they got a field goal right here. That gave them a little bit of momentum going in at halftime.
2nd and 5. Lomax in motion to the near side as they pitch it back to Emmitt Smith, picking his way through, and he's got a first down at the 34-yard line. Leroy Butler the free safety, a junior from Jacksonville. As you look at Perry's numbers, 455 yards, 51%. But look at that, no touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. He's a sophomore from Mayo, Florida. And keep in mind, when you talk about coming from behind, as you look at Kyle Morris and throwing the football, that Womack is the only receiver on the Florida team that is averaging at least 2 receptions a game. They just have not been able to throw the ball that well since Stacy Simmons was injured early this year, as Womack goes in motion to the far side on 1st and 10, and nowhere to go for Cedric Smith. He's back to the line of scrimmage where Eric Hayes, 78, and Odell Hagens, 53, are at the bottom, and Kelvin Smith also came in there.
It looks like Lynn Amity, the offensive coordinator, and Galen Hall got together at halftime and said, look, let's establish something. If nothing else, let's establish the running game so that we can use play-action passes in the second half and throw behind the Florida State linebackers. Florida State is a fine defensive team, but Florida's got to come out and throw the ball to move it on.
They split McGriff, the tight end, to the near side on 2nd and 9. All day to throw, and Perry threw it right in the hands of number 46, Felton Hayes.
Broken up by Felton Hayes.
Boy, good protection that time by the offensive line of the University of Florida. And that has been, you know, you talk about Emmitt Smith being out, you talk about the quarterback problems, but in all honesty, the offensive line has had their problems this year too, but that time, good protection. And they're faced with a 3rd and 9 now. Perry's checking off at the line of scrimmage. Penalty markers are down, and Lee, every time they've checked off the Gators of Florida, usually a penalty marker is thrown. Let's go down to Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, Roger, you see Kyle Morris, the Florida starting quarterback, warming up behind me here. He's got a problem, as Galen Hall said, with his thumb and his forefinger. Earlier in the game, a Florida State lineman fell on his leg, so you saw him limping late in the first half. He also got a neck injury, but it's the thumb and forefinger problem. They're going to see how accurately he can throw before they put him back in. That's going to hurt a comeback effort, because Perry is not the passer that Kyle Morris is. Nobody said it was easy playing against this Florida State defense, fellas.
The problem is the thumb. The forefinger, you don't need to throw it, but you cannot squeeze the football without a good thumb.
The penalty, too much time against Florida. 3rd and 14. And intended for Emmitt Smith. That was just a bad pass. And the other thing was, it wasn't nearly enough for the first down. I mean, that pass was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. And Florida will have to punt it to that man, Deion Sanders, as Francis will go back to his 15-yard line, and Sanders will be at the 35.
The last 2 times Florida State put on a punt return, they're famous for punt blocks.
Low snap, but a good kick. Sanders, the fair catch at the 34-yard line, and 12:58 to go 3rd quarter. And down at the bottom of that card, it said Corso and Sanders, 14 interceptions. And Monk Bontasorte has the all-time Florida State record of 15 as the Noles take it 1st and 10, and Sammy Smith trying to pick his way through, but the Florida defense rose to the occasion that time as we take a look at the possessions for Florida State.
Watch, 3 in a row. Bing, bang, boom. 3 touchdowns for Florida State. They finally had to punt the ball. Another touchdown, or field goal, excuse me. Then they had the interception. That turned into a field goal for Florida. And at halftime, very conservative Bobby Bowden at the end of the first half.
No gain on that last play. It'll be 2nd and 10 as both wide receivers, Barber and Anthony, split to the top of your screen. Dane Williams right up the middle, and Joey Nicoletto came busting through to trip him up. We're getting just a very light sprinkle here, Lee, and it's interesting that this past summer, Hootie Ingram, the athletic director here at Florida State, had prescription athletic turf installed here because the past 3 years, or the last 3 times they've played Florida here, have been played in quagmires. Florida State has lost all those games. He tells me, and you know this for a fact, at Indiana, prescription athletic turf, he says he could go out and sell that around the country on his vacation and make a lot of money. That's how much he loves it.
They found that at Purdue University.
Right.
That's where it was founded.
3rd down and 7. Ferguson putting it up. Ronald Lewis was out there, and penalty markers go down. Lewis Oliver was back on the coverage. The last time Ferguson rolled out, he was intercepted. He went deep downfield that time to Ronald Lewis. The bottom line with the PAT, prescription athletic turf, if they get a rain, it doesn't really matter anymore. It does a great job of absorbing the moisture.
It goes right down, absorbing it. There's no flag on that one because the ball is uncatchable.
Ball is uncatchable. What down?
On the replay, you'll see. Remember, on pass interference, the ball must be catchable. That ball is over his head. Now, the question everybody says is, was it uncatchable because number 18, Oliver, knocked number 7, Lewis, down? That's a judgment call by the officials.
Corlew will stand at his 22-yard line. And back deep for the University of Florida is Kerry Watkins. Nice high spiraling punt. Driving Watkins back inside the 10. He loses it, and loses it in the end zone. And number 31 for Florida State, Marion Butts, falls on it for a touchdown. '53-yard punt. And I want to tell you what, Corlew got that up in the air, and it just kept going and going and going, and Watkins couldn't get it.
Roger, I said if a great offense and a great defense meet, what's the difference between the two teams?
You said it's a kicking game.
The kicking game,
but
right
here. The guy who drops
it doesn't make a difference. That's all part of the kicking game. Number 4 dropped the football. Watkins, Florida State runs, jumps on it. At 7 points, it's the difference between great teams and excellent teams.
You're right. You're right. Richie Andrews to attempt the point after. And it's good. So with 11:25 to go, Florida State leads it 31-10. Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee as Andrews will kick it off. And deep and out of bounds on the far side. Let's go to Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, Roger, you're looking at the suspenders of the governor of the state of Florida, Bob Martinez. You see the picture of neutrality here. Can you really be neutral? You told me your son went to Florida State.
Well, I do stay neutral. We got 2 great universities, and they make us proud. They're both going to bowl games along with the University of Miami, and they simply bring an awful lot of good publicity to the state of Florida.
You spent this first half on this one side. You're going across the field, splitting time this game.
That's correct. We were with Bernie Sligo, who's the president of Florida State University. Now we're going over to the other side for a while, and hopefully all the young players that are out there come out of this game without any major injuries, and they put on a great show for the people of Florida.
Okay, thank you very much, Governor. Roger.
Thank you, Chris. Governor Bob Martinez of Florida, like a true politician. Sitting on both sides, shaking a few hands.
Tampa, man. Former mayor of the city of Tampa.
As Womack downs it in the end zone. This is Watkins now.
Watkins gets good vision, but all of a sudden it bounces off his shoulder. Now, the problem is he tries to pick it up, and it bounces off of his left arm, and there is Butts, number 31, to fall on it. The kicking game, the kicking game, the kicking game is so very important if you're going to win any kind of championship. And Florida State does it as well as anyone.
They've blocked 6 punts this year. They blocked 6 punts last year. The kicking game, special teams, has always been a strong suit of Bobby Bowden through the years. And who can forget the Ruski earlier this year against Clemson? The biggest play of the year for Florida State, and probably the biggest play of the year in college football.
Holding on the kicking team.
Holding penalty against Florida State. And you couldn't tell it was Thanksgiving holidays around here this week. A lot of people getting ready for this game. And another huge crowd here at Doak Campbell Stadium, as we saw earlier this year when we were here for Michigan State. There's a look at Marion Butts, who's had a good night on the special teams. He's made a couple of tackles. He's a junior from Sylvester, Georgia, backup fullback. He goes 6'1" and 250.
He's a fine-looking football player. Just think he's on the second team.
7 points off the fumble and interception 3. 10 points.
Florida also got 3 points off an interception.
Now for Florida, 1st and 10 as Kyle Morris is back in the quarterback at the 20-yard line. Excuse me, that's still Perry. Emmitt Smith. He's got nowhere to go. Kelvin Smith, 36. shut him off to the outside and made him go back inside where there were about 6 Florida State defenders waiting for him.
That was an automatic. The fullback went the wrong way. The fullback went to the left, and that's why poor Smith, number 22, is all by himself with number 78, Eric Hayes from Tampa, Florida, and the rest of his teammates.
Loss of 1, so it's 2nd down and 11. Intercept, no! Tracy Sanders had it in his hands, and he couldn't hold on to it. I'm afraid Herbert Perry just... There's a good look at Sanders, the senior corner. Perry just doesn't have a real good idea back there. Every pass he's thrown tonight has been in the direction of the Florida State defender.
Not only that, the Florida State Seminoles are dropping into the zones, and they're watching his eyes, and they're breaking on it. Perry's an outstanding baseball player, but he doesn't have any confidence in his passing ability now. You can see the way he sets up with his feet.
Sanders is getting the crowd into it on 3rd down and 11. And now they've taken too much time, so Sanders, now that's on the Florida, by the Florida bench, but with the FSU student section behind there, and he got him making so much noise. Perry was trying to call out signals. And
in a situation like that, Rod, if Perry cannot handle a signal, he should go to the official and ask him to have the crowd quiet down, and not take 25 seconds and put himself in 3rd down and 16. And now all the linemen are going to come after Perry. All the backs are going to play zone, and be careful. There might be a turnover right here.
3rd down and 16 from the 14-yard line. Penalty markers down.
Dead ball. Delay of game on the offense.
Another delay of game.
If Perry's having a problem, what he needs to do is tell the official he can't hear the signals. Go over and ask them to keep the crowd quiet. There's a rule in there that covers this exact situation for Hubert Perry.
3rd down conversions floated is 1 of 7. Florida State 4 for 7. And now it's 3rd down and 21. To the 15-yard line, where he is stuck by Felton Hayes and Tracy Sanders. And so Florida will have to punt it with 10:21 to go. 3rd quarter. Morris, we're told, is not likely to return. If that's the case, that man right there who's talking to his coaches upstairs, and Deion Sanders, who's standing at midfield.
Roger, you can sense it. This game is getting out of hand. Florida State is going to start to overwhelm these guys, and once they start rolling, nobody can stop them.
Francis at his 1-yard line. Bad kick off the side of his foot. But it turns over for him, and it'll end up right at midfield, called the 49-yard line. 35 yards in the punt, but good field position for the Seminoles. Deion Sanders is already a professional baseball player. What do you think about that, Lee? Being a pro in one sport and playing college football or basketball? Or
I think it's a great idea. Since it happens very, very few times, I think it's a great idea. A guy like Sanders is a tremendous baseball player, goes and plays in the summer, comes back and plays football. That's not bad.
And he's getting paid to play baseball, while the rest of the guys that he's playing football with are on scholarship. And
holding on the receiving team. Loose ball foul, be penalized.
Going back to Sanders in that situation, remember, that could be probably one of the best summer jobs a man's ever had in the history of football. What is it, $70,000 summer job?
For 6 weeks. Bobby Bowden says it's the first time I can say that I got a player that's got a car that I'd like to have.
You know, Bobby Bowden's done a magnificent job here. When he came to Florida State, in the 3 years prior to when he got here, they only had 4 wins. 4 wins in 3 years previous to Bobby Bowden.
So the penalty, and they're conferring with Galen Hall right now. They're trying to sort this situation out.
I'm not so sure that if I was Florida, I would take the penalty, because they'll have to punt the ball again to Deion Sanders, and I'll tell you what, that's scary.
Gathered around the 20-yard line with the officials.
Looks like a union meeting, doesn't it?
It does. Trace Armstrong's over there. The old Bobby Bowden is saying, well, let's go for it. Guys, you stand back over here. And now they're taking off their helmets and getting down on me.
It's very simple.
This is when, Lee, I'd like to mention the officials tonight. Buddy Ward, the referee, Tommy Rose, the umpire, Hunter Jackson, the linesman, Mike Looney, the field judge, Robert Caldwell, the line judge, Jim Dalpolis, side judge, and Charlie Horton, the back judge.
It's not very, very hard to figure this out. Don't punt the ball anymore to Sanders.
On the receiving team, post-scrimmage kick, enforcement 10 yards.
Yes. That wasn't very hard. Just forget it. Take the 10-yard penalty and do not punt the ball to Sanders, because he allowed to go 75 yards in a heartbeat.
It's 31-10. Florida State with 9:43 to go. Third quarter. And Bobby Bowden.
First down.
Is now speaking to the official to get his explanation.
You know what he said? It's our ball, isn't it? That's all he cares. He doesn't care how far. It could be on the 40, 30. As long as he's got it, that's all he cares.
First and 10. Ferguson, Ronald Lewis inside the 45 to the 43-yard line with number 29. Owen Bartlett, the outside backer, makes a tackle after a 17-yard reception.
They fake the ball to 33, Smith, so the linebackers can freeze. Then you watch the open spot. You notice that spot is open, and number 7, Lewis, just finds an open way to get in there. Florida State's got beautifully conceived pass patterns.
Could have been a face mask there, too. Another first down for Florida State. First and 10 from the 43 of the Gators. Sammy Smith, little stutter step. He's got it to the outside. Watch out. Inside the 30, the 20-yard line, and to the 17-yard line, where Joey Nicoletto rode him out of bounds after 26 yards. And Lee, I love the way he looks at his blockers, the way he measures the field, and then can turn it on.
They call this running the daylight. Look, start to the left, start to the right. I'll guarantee you they don't practice a play like that. All they do is recruit a guy. The stiff arm looks like the Heisman Trophy winner, except he's not going to win it because he was hurt this year. But he's an outstanding football player. Zellwood, Florida, which is right near Orlando. I went to Apopka High School.
Does Barry Sanders win the Heisman now? Since
Absolutely. Barry Sanders wins the Heisman. He won it before Southern Cal got beat.
First and 10 from the 17-yard line. Smith again, but he's grabbed in the backfield by Rondi Weston, the senior from Belgrade. He's 6'5" and 280 and quick.
Last year, he had 6 tackles against Florida State, 3 for losses. He's also going to play in an all-star game. He'll play in the East-West Shrine game, which is a tremendous game in Palo Alto, California.
They were talking yesterday when we were with Galen Hall. A couple of the players came over, Louis Oliver and Jeff Rock, and said, you know, we'd like to change. We were going to go to the Japan Bowl, but maybe we want to go to the Hula Bowl now. We're doing a little negotiating with the coach. Second down at 17. hits Smith right in the hands at the 20-yard line, and he's not able to hold on to it. We've got a light sprinkler coming down. I don't know if that's causing the players here in the last 4 or 5 minutes to drop the ball, but there is a little bit of moisture coming down out of the skies.
Smith's going out of the backfield. He's one-on-one. He learns. Watch this. The ball was thrown so fast he didn't get a chance to turn around. One of the coaching points on that, Roger, as soon as the defensive back, the offensive back crosses the line of scrimmage, turn your shoulders.
Well, it's rained in the 3 previous games here against Florida and Tallahassee, but it looks like it's going to be a different outcome tonight. Ferguson down the middle. He's got his tight end, O'Malley. What a big game for Tom O'Malley, the senior from Darien, Connecticut. Lewis Oliver was back there at the 7-yard line to make the tackle.
Ferguson's an outstanding quarterback. O'Malley made a good catch. He's got good hands. Ferguson played at Charlotte and was from Charlotte, North Carolina, but he's really from Spartanburg High School in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Nice to not drop. Now watch the way he'll throw it off his front foot. Nice throw, nice form. He stayed under in good pressure.
O'Malley has gloves on. He's been making some catches.
Yeah, but that's because he's an Irishman.
4th down and 1. Ferguson coming around and diving for the 1st down. And it's going to be very, very close. Joey Nicoletto was over there. Now, they had marked that ball on the pass reception by O'Malley. It appeared to be a 1st down. And then they moved it back.
This is going against the computer. 78% of the time they run over the right tackle. Florida knew that, and so did Florida State's Bobby Bowden. He makes a good fake and runs the bootleg and tries to go on. Now watch. Number 65. Haynes will pull. Smith goes over it, and there comes a naked bootleg, and he's trying to run for the 1st down.
So they had moved the spot back on the reception by O'Malley, and Ferguson didn't get it. So Florida's defense comes up with a big save.
But Florida's defense is just about had it right now. There's not any more spark and life in them for the simple reason that the offense is not moving.
Pardon me, the official turned around and moved one way. It is a 1st down. 1st down for Florida State now. 1st and goal at the 7-yard line. And you can see the moisture collecting on the football. Sammy Smith. And he had a hard time holding on to the ball just then. But he did the right thing. He waited until he got a grip on it, and then he just tried to get as much as he could. Richardson and Weston in on the tackle.
This is a toss play. He gets to the ball, but he just about fumbles it. But the great play was by number 90, Richardson from the outside from Atlanta, Georgia. He's 6'5", 233, and one of the best young football players on the Florida team.
So they lose a yard on that last play, and it will be 2nd and goal from the 8. Clock running, 7:05 to go. 3rd quarter. Florida State leads it 31-10. Ronald Lewis is the lone wide receiver as Sammy Smith gets it one more time. Smith inside the 5, down to the 2-yard line. Trace Armstrong had a shot at him at the 8, but he broke the tackle. Richardson and Bartram finally brought him down.
Richardson's a great prospect for a young player. He's only a sophomore. They run the toss play. The right-hand side of your picture, you watch number 90 play a beautiful play. Number 93, Armstrong gets run through, but 90 makes a good play from the inside out. Armstrong is having a tough time up front because they're putting one guy on him and then they're cutting him down low. But 90, Richardson is playing an outstanding game, especially near the goal line.
Marion Butts, 31, has checked into the game now. He's the man that recovered that fumble in the end zone, and he's set up on the wing on the near side as they give it to Dane Williams. Touchdown, Florida State. The point after is good. And with 6:49 to go in the 3rd, Florida State leads at 38-10.
The left side of the line, 6 69, Ionata. 60, Morris just blows the Florida line back at number 49, 220-pound Williams scores for Florida State.
Chris Fowler back with you as Andrews kicks it off. And boy, with a little bit of wind to his back, all of a sudden he's a different kind of kickoff man. As the Florida Gators will take it over 1st and 10 from the 20 for Florida State. 9 plays, 60 yards. 2 minutes, 54 seconds, and Dane Williams on the touchdown run, his 4th of the year.
Big play was Ferguson to O'Malley on 3rd down when they needed it. Come up with a nice play to the tight end.
Kyle Morris is checked back in now for the Gators.
Deflected, intercepted. Intercepted. Touchdown, Florida State. Odell Higgins was the man who took it in. Number 53 is going to run all the way back down to Bartow, which is about 150 miles from here.
Isn't that a middle guard's dream? The nose tackle, little short, stubby guy, 6'1", 260 pounds. Andrews, the point after, and it's good. 45-10, 6:40 left to go in the third. 45-10 as Andrews is getting the work out here. And he sends it down to Tony Lomax, who will count it in the end zone. And let's take a look at this rush on the quarterback, Kyle Morris.
Morris goes back to pass, but number 99, Moss, from the right-hand side of your picture, jumps up and deflects the ball so that number 53, Haggins, can get the ball. Now watch the right-hand side of your picture. You'll see 6'4", 230-pound southpaw from Miami. Moss deflect the ball right there, and Haggins intercepts the ball, and he's the leading scorer from Bartow, Florida at this exact moment.
Look at him carry people into the end zone. 1st and 10 for the Gators from the 20, and they'll try to get something working on the ground as Emmitt Smith takes it right up the middle to the 27. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim?
All right, Roger, going to take you back to your homeland here for a moment. Arizona and Arizona State again. Alonzo Washington, an 11-yard pass from Ronald Deal. Gets it done mostly on his own. 28-18. Arizona State just can't handle Arizona, can they, Roger?
No, it's unbelievable, Tim. It's been the last 6-7 years, and whether it's a tie or a win, it's been unbelievable. I can tell you years ago it was all the other way. McGrady right up the middle, and he gets to about the 33-yard line. Kirk Carruthers, freshman out of East Lansing, Michigan. How did he end up down here, Lee?
Probably came down here on a visit in January. 3 feet of snow in East Lansing. They took him out here to Blue Sink with all the girls swimming with the bikinis on, and he said, "Where's the paper? I want to sign."
1st and 10. And they'll run it again. Emmitt Smith. He's up to the 39-yard line. Actually, the story with Carruthers was that his dad coached 5 years with George Perlis under Duffy Doherty. And Smith is hobbling just a bit as he leaves the field. You can see now. Oh, man, he's down on one knee. I'm sure Chris Fowler will be checking on that as Emmitt Smith is limped off the field with 5:08 to go, 3rd quarter. And that'll bring Willie McClendon into the game. 2nd and 4 from the 39-yard line. And that's McClendon, the freshman. And line. He has enough for the first down to the 45-yard line. This is what happened to Emmitt Smith.
Watch him. He might get hit with a helmet right around the knee area. Right, fine. That's a bruise. Anytime you hit a running back and his legs are up in the air, it's more or less to be a bruise. The only thing you worry about is if he ever has his legs planted. Now watch. See if his legs aren't up in the air. Yeah.
And the right knee is the knee he had the problem with, Lee.
So it probably is a bruise, hopefully nothing more serious, so he can play against Illinois in the All-American Bowl.
1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. And McGrady right up the middle is stopped by Phil Carolla, the senior from Melville, New York, as Bobby Bowden has put in a lot of his backup players on the defensive unit. As you take a look at Smith, the sophomore from Pensacola, touted as a Heisman Trophy candidate. Matter of fact, the player returning this year with the most Heisman votes from a year ago, Emmitt Smith. And Sammy Smith was another player that got a lot of preseason hype. 2nd and 6. McClendon. And he is stuck over there as he crossed midfield to the 48-yard line. Felton Hayes was the man. Coming up Thursday night, they're calling this the Hurricane Bowl. Lee and I sat there and they didn't play it initially. They rescheduled it, and it will be Thursday night, 17th ranked Alabama against Texas A&M. That at 8:30 Eastern time.
You might call it the Cancer Bowl.
62,693 breaks the Florida State attendance record. So a record crowd here tonight on 3rd down and 4. Checking off, and he's got to hurry now. And finally, at the 46-yard line, Phil Carolla. And Corey Sr., number 57, who's just a freshman, by the way, drop Kyle Morris, and Florida will have to punt with 2:55 to go 3rd quarter. And Deion Sanders, who really hasn't had a good shot at one tonight. He did have one where he had a little space and was tripped up. But he's back at his 15-yard line, and that punt angles to the far side and will bounce out of bounds at the 25. And they're coming down trying to get after Sanders, and he's backing off 38 yards on that punt. As you remember, if you were with us earlier this year, Sanders got hurt in that Michigan State game that we had and missed several games with the knee. And Lee, there's Renegade. And
it's a good Osceola. You know, it's a good thing they don't run that horse around like they do the Trojan horse, where he'd have a heart attack running on. Because 45 points with another quarter to play. I'm telling you.
You know, they had the horse in Kansas City for years with the Chiefs. They used to run around, but they had to retire from inactivity. They went through a few bad years, and they used to run him around on touchdowns. But 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Ferguson. That was an interesting call right there. Lawrence Dawsey was the intended receiver, and Richard Fain on the coverage as Peter Tom Willis is talking with Bobby Bowden on the sideline, and they're going to make a change right now. That'll be the last play for senior Chip Ferguson, and listen to the round of applause.
And I think that's what Bobby did. I think he wanted to give him an opportunity to come off to this applause. That's why he had him in for one more play.
So Peter Tom Willis are going to try it to Dawsey on the end around. Armstrong misses him. Dawsey still on his feet, spins to the 34-yard line. So Rondi Weston finally made the tackle, but that could have been a big, big loss. And Dawsey finally got it back up near the line of scrimmage.
Little reverse action play. They'll fake the ball to the tailback. Willis will hand the ball to Dawsey, 29. 93, Armstrong's got a chance on it, but there's no way he can make an open field tackle on a guy as elusive as number 29 from Dothan, Alabama, Dawsey.
3rd down and 1. 1:49 to go, 3rd quarter, 45-10, Florida State leads it. Marion Butts is the fullback, and He's got the first down across the 35-yard line. Huey Richardson and Bill Lang come up to make the stop. First and 10. 1:17 to go, third quarter. And Dexter Carter dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Trace Armstrong. And let's go to Chris Fowler.
Okay, Roger. The injury to Emmitt Smith is not serious. It is a thigh injury on his left leg. The team physician told me he can go back in if he's needed. Roger.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you something. Galen Hall, listen, don't put Emmitt Smith back in there. I mean, you've got the American Bowl game at December 29th, and we might do it against Illinois. We want to see him. These Florida State guys will eat him up alive.
Florida's been banged up, and they need the time they'll have now, that next month, to get ready for Illinois. As Peter Tom Willis has jumped. The man in there, Rondi Weston, his 7th sack of the year, and Trace Armstrong was also there. Between them now, 14 sacks on the year by the bookends for Florida.
68, Weston from Belgrade, Florida, does a nice job of whipping number 60, Morris from Miami, Florida, and drags down Willis. Now you say, why didn't he do that earlier? He was trying, but Florida State was using so many different kinds of movements. Guys like Weston couldn't get into the game. They couldn't get into the flow.
I think Belgrade, Florida might turn out more college and professional players per population than any city in the country. They've got a lot of great ones. We've had third period of play.
At 16 Bedford Street, the toast is with fine crystal. On Astor Lane, a powerful telescope probes the night sky. And over on Shore Road, a new TV is entertaining the Kagans. All these things were bought with Visa Gold, which protects them against loss, theft, damage, and doubles the manufacturer's warranty. And with Visa Gold, you can get this protection at nearly 3 times as many places as American Express. Visa Gold. It's everywhere you want to be.
Is attracting everyone's attention. Gold Star. After all, when you pay attention to what people want, people pay attention to you. Gold Star, the brightest star in electronics.
Almaden wine. Every glass is sheer pleasure, pure enjoyment. And that's all a great wine was ever meant to be. Almaden, for the sheer pleasure of it.
Mr. Smith, the proposal. Better fax it.
In Facsimile Communications, one name stands out for a new level of performance and reliability. And now the highest image quality available. Canon knows that for every kind of business, it's not just how fast you get there, but how well you're received.
Smith's proposal looks great. Where is Smith?
Canon Fax, communicating quality. For information, call toll-free 1-800-OK-CANON.
ESPN opens the door on NCAA basketball. Slam jammed with color and excitement. See a parade of America's outstanding players in sparkling displays nearly every night. And follow top teams right through conference championship, the NIT, and the NCAA tournament. The color and excitement of live NCAA basketball and ESPN. The right combination.
We're set for the final 15 minutes here at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. 3rd down and 18 for Florida State. And Peter Tom Willis is the quarterback, and he swings it to the near side, and that's Dexter Carter. And Carter's up to the 37-yard line, not nearly enough for the first down. Jerry Odom makes a stop as Florida State now will have to punt. That's Tim Corley. Remember, he had the big booming punt that Watkins couldn't handle, and Butts covered the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. He's standing at his 24-yard line, and Watkins is back for Florida. And pressured that time and off the side of the foot. And that'll roll out of bounds at the 37-yard line. So a good night for the senior Chip Ferguson out of Charlotte, North Carolina, 6'2", 200-pounder, who this evening threw 3 touchdown passes.
Ferguson also started off his career pretty well. He's the most valuable player in the 1985 Gator Bowl game as a freshman.
Right, kind of had an up and down. Really got off to a great start, Lee, and then found himself on the bench for a couple of years and came back and finished up great fashion.
He played behind Danny McManus, who took him to the #2 spot in the nation.
Pitch back to McClendon. He can't handle it as they wanted to try to run the reverse to Lomax. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
All right, Roger, it's time now for our Panasonic video replay of the day. You know, it's amazing. A year ago at this time, everyone was saying, boy, Tony Rice just doesn't get the ball to Tim Brown enough. This year they're saying, hey, no need to get it to anyone enough. Tony can do it just fine. That's a 65-yard touchdown run as he helped Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, pass USC 27-10. Roger?
Okay, thank you, Tim. 2nd down and 17, and they lose the football. Morris not able to get a handle on it, but it appears as though Florida was able to recover. Lee, they're just disintegrating right now.
Well, what's happened is they were playing very well until the punt. When the man, Watkins, dropped the punt, Butts fell on it, that man right there's team collapsed. He has nothing to do with it. It's psychologically, Florida State's a better football team, but that exact moment, the whole game just caved in, and from then on, it's been downhill for the Gators.
Galen Hall took over in '84 from Charlie Pell and led them in their final 8 games to a perfect 8-0 record. They finished 9-1-1, and that '84 team was crowned national champion by a couple of publications. As Herbert Perry throwing downfield to the 40-yard line. Lomax not able to come up with it, and Deion Sanders was back in the coverage. Storyline tonight, 3 turnovers, resulting in 21 Florida State points. Seminoles 277 total yards with Ferguson 3 touchdown passes. So Florida State, who has not beaten Florida here in Tallahassee since 1980. Looks like they're going to end that particular hex as Deion Sanders takes it. Still going to midfield, crawling forward. He wants to go all the way every time he touches the football. 45-10. CFA football is brought to you by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. By Almaden Wines, every glass is sheer pleasure and pure enjoyment. And by Wang Laboratories, Wang makes it work. Roger Twyla, Lee Corso, Chris Fowler with you in Tallahassee, Florida. And it's a big night for the Seminoles, looking for their 10th straight victory. They lead at 45-10, 12:32 to go. 4th quarter, Peter Tom Willis has replaced Chip Ferguson and hands the ball off up the middle. And for Florida State, as they go deep into the roster, Victor Floyd, as Tim Park, number 99, makes a tackle. Floyd's another tailback we saw earlier in the year. And Bobby Bowden's got a lot of depth there. If Sammy Smith decides to return, Dexter Carter's a junior, Chris Parker's a freshman, Victor Floyd a sophomore.
Bowden is building a dynasty here. He's got good football teams coming up. He's got good football players in every position. He does an outstanding job recruiting.
2nd and 2. Ronald Lewis to the 30-yard line. Bill Lang, 24, makes the tackle. He's got good depth. Whenever you can bring in a quarterback like Peter Tom Willis, who we mentioned earlier, led them to a 59-0 victory over South Carolina, game you saw here on ESPN. You know you got some great stuff on the bench.
You know, that's going to be a great bowl game when Florida State plays Auburn. But remember one statistic about Bobby Bowden. In the last 7 bowl games, he's won 6 and had 1 tie. Do not bet against Bobby Bowden in bowl games.
Willis trying to throw it near side. Terry Anthony was the intended receiver, and the pressure put on from Mark Murray. You know, you mentioned Auburn. They're going to start a home-and-home series next year, Florida State and Auburn. A 10-year contract, I believe, was signed. So, and of course, Florida State plays an outstanding schedule. They do have their share of what some folks might call cupcakes, but they are playing, or they have played this year, a number of teams who will be going to bowls, and we'll tell you more about that in just a moment. 2nd and 10. And that's Floyd. And Floyd is down to the 11-yard line. These are Florida State opponents in bowls this year. Miami, who they lost to in the orange. Southern Mississippi, good club, is in the Independence Bowl. Clemson in the citrus. Michigan State in the gator. South Carolina in the Liberty. And then Florida, who will be playing in the All-American Bowl.
Miami shut them out 31-0. That shows you what a good team they are. Clemson lost to them on a fake play. Man.
You think there's a little compromising in that family? She's Florida State, he's Florida.
She's winning 45-10.
Guess who's driving home? 1st and 10. Sending it straight up the middle. Florida State running back Keith Ross. So Bobby Bowden in this game has utilized 5 different tailbacks, and that's Pat Moore, who is the leading tackler, 6 foot, 234-pound junior from Pensacola.
He's a walk-on, and Florida has a lot of walk-ons. The reason they have a lot of walk-ons is they got on probation, and the NCAA cut their scholarships down. So the only players they could get were players who are not recruited by someone else who liked Florida enough that could come there with some potential. That's why Galen Hall is having a tough time winning this year. Just doesn't have enough depth.
2nd and 9. Peter Tom Willis throwing it to the near side. Terry Anthony, touchdown.
Florida State has so much talent. Peter Tom Willis drops back, throws a shot to Anthony. Terry Anthony just struggles his way and beats Watkins to the corner. They've got Atkins, they've got Lewis, they've got Lassane, they've got Anthony, they have everything to win the national championship, except they stumbled in the first one against a great Miami team, 31-0.
Richie Andrews for the point after. And it's good. And 10:08 left to go. 4th quarter. Florida State leads it 52-10 against the rival, the University of Florida. The Casio College football scoreboard immediately following this game, and then SportsCenter coming up to you at 11 Eastern time, and then we'll go out to beautiful Maui at the Lahaina Civic Center semifinals live. It'll be Oklahoma against UNLV, and then Michigan against Memphis State.
Interesting. 2 of the best football schools in the country, Michigan and Oklahoma, are ranked 3 and 4 in the nation in basketball. Little drop back pass. 1, 2, 3. Throws a shot to Anthony. He gets it, avoids Watkins into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. 52-10, and it is not over yet. A little dance movement there.
I'd give him about a 7 on that. I liked the move. The tempo was a little bit funky, but, you know, it's a start. I'll tell you one thing about Bobby Bowden coach teams that I've noticed over the years. He knows when to allow individuals to be individuals to the point that they're not going to hurt other people, but he'll give a player freedom to let the personality come out. I think, you know, you need that on a team. When you've got 70 or 80 guys as the kickoff drops down around the 20-yard line, and for the University of Florida, Kirk Kirkpatrick, a backup tight end. Let's go down to Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, Roger, I'm here with Broderick Sandman Thomas, the All-American linebacker from Nebraska. You're here because you're a buddy of Deion Sanders, right? You guys met at the Playboy All-American thing?
That's right. It's our second time making Playboy All-American, and we're just about the best of friends. Me, myself, and Neil Smith, Deion, and Bobby, Derek Thomas, Bobby Humphrey, those are my good friends. So anytime I get a chance to go out and see him play, I like to get a chance.
What do you like about Deion?
Well, he's my buddy. We sell out alike. You know, our style of football is just alike. And, you know, we get along very well off the field.
Okay, Huskers against Miami in the Orange Bowl. Big test for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. You know, Miami has beaten Nebraska by 1 point the last time they were there. So it's going to be nice for our fans to go back down and enjoy the game.
What are you and Deion going to do after the game to celebrate tonight?
Go do a little bowling and go have a Coke and a
little
smile.
Bowling? Are you kidding me?
Bowling and Coke and a smile. We're going to go out, just hang out a little while and enjoy ourselves.
Bowling, yeah, if you believe that, guys, go back upstairs.
He thinks Tom Osborne's watching the game on television.
You better believe it. You better believe it. 2nd and 1 now for Florida. As the Gators send over the right side, Dexter McNabb, 9:25 left to go in this football game. Kelvin Smith, who is still in there, made the tackle. But anyway, we're talking about Bobby Bowden, and he allows players like a Deion Sanders. There's some coaches, Lee, you know, that wouldn't let a player be the type of individual that Deion has, but he's allowed him to be that way. I'm sure Galen Hall would love to allow some of his players to be that way. He hasn't had those sort of players here the last couple of years. Sanders is still in the game. It's 52-10, and Bowden also a great coach in tight games and crucial situations late in the game. And Florida wants to call a timeout. Herbert Perry having a problem. And we've got a timeout on the field with 9 minutes to go. And for the Gators. And Perry is sacked. 93, Shelton Thompson with his 2nd sack of the year.
Thompson's from Lakeland, Florida, 6'3", 248. Watch the quickness from the left side of your picture. Watch the quickness. You see, Roger, the closing speed, the quickness of the Florida State team, even the second unit is so impressive. They move so quickly as a unit. It's going to be a great game when they match these guys against the Auburn front, offense and defense.
Well, Auburn has, you know, the best defense statistically in the country. 2nd down and 22. Thrown down the middle and intended for a 14, Ernie Mills. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
Roger, that college scoreboard will be coming up a little later. Of course, it was scheduled to be on now. Your game's going to run long, but watch LSU's Greg Jackson. He had a 100-yard interception return to sew up a share of the SEC title for the Bayou Bengals a couple of weeks ago against Mississippi State. Here he picks off Terrence Jones, goes 71 yards for the touchdown. The Tigers have this one out of reach, 41-14 against Tulane. Meanwhile, in Arizona, they've done it again. The Wildcats go down to the 28-18 win. Let's get back to Roger, along with Lee Corso. By the way, I'm going to the lanes after this telecast. I'm going to solve that crucial 7-10 split, Raj.
Tim, I thought that 3-7 was more down your alley. We've got an injured player on the field for the University of Florida. That's Tracy Daniels, the center. This is, of course, night game. And Lee, Florida State has played night games for many, many years. This is the first game under the lights for the University of Florida this season. But under the lights, Bowden's record 51-9, and Florida is giving as much trouble as anyone, 76, 82, and 86.
He's only lost to 4 teams outside the state of Florida out of 60 games. Whew.
Remarkable. And a victory tonight, which he has. It'll be the 5th time Florida State has won 10 or more games in a season. 3rd down and 22 for Herbert Perry and the Gators. Going down the middle, and he's got his man. Goodness, he hung on to the football. That was Willie McClendon, the running back. Derek Dodge put a mean lick on him. but McClendon held on to it, and it's a first down.
It's good to see McClendon come up with a big play. He was the top high school player in the state of Florida last year, and he's the man that they might put in the backfield with Emmitt Smith next year. If you'll notice, nice throw by Perry this time. Good concentration. He knows he's going to get hit, but good concentration by McClendon there.
1st and 10 from the 43 and straight up the middle there. That's Dexter McNabb. Tell us what Galen Hall was we were talking to him about recruiting and Willie McClendon, and he said the way the rules have changed now, he wouldn't have gotten McClendon.
He recruited McClendon because he went over there every week for the entire recruiting season, and McClendon liked that, and he thought he would have gone to Nebraska. This year, the head coach can go only once into a high school football player's school, so therefore he would have never gotten a player like McClendon with the new rules. As
McClendon carries the ball there to the 35-yard line, and Felton Hayes makes a tackle with 7:10 left to go in this game. So there's been a change. And Lee, do you think that benefits, well, say the Nebraskas, the Michigans, the Penn States of the world?
Oh, absolutely. The guys that are always out to put those kind of rules on are Bo Schembechler, Vince Dooley, Joe Paterno, the guys that got great football teams. The guys that have to build their teams with recruiting, they don't want to put restrictions on head coaching recruiting.
3rd down and 2. And that's way short. Way short of the first down as Henry Ostaszewski came up to make the stop on 21, Dexter McNabb. Record crowd tonight, 62,693. Congratulations to the fans and friends of Florida State.
When I came here in '53, Tom Nugent, we used to get 20,000 and thought that the whole town was here.
4th down and 2, McClendon. 1st down, Florida down to the 29-yard line where Felton Hayes makes a tackle as the clock continues to run with 6:04 to go. Chris?
Okay, Roger, I'm down here with Renegade, the 21-year-old Appaloosa that's been taking Chief Osceola into battle here for the last 10 years. Now, some ugly rumors circulating this week that Renegade might be in the home stretch. The handlers have told me those are unfounded. He's going to go as long as he can, and if we keep getting high-scoring games like this, he could be in trouble. I'll tell you what, he's not going to challenge Ali Sheba in a race, but he's still going strong, guys.
Chris, he was looking at you with kind of a mean stare there. You better move away. Well, he didn't look too happy about that rumor, Chris. I must say that. McClendon on that carry, and it'll be 3rd down now. And a wonderful evening in Tallahassee as the Seminoles will move their record to 10-1, and Florida will drop to 6-5. And a time has been called by Florida State. Timeout on the field with 5:19 to go. Arcasio, player of the game tonight, is Florida State senior quarterback Chip Ferguson. 10 of 16, just 131 yards, but 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception. And Lee, you know, he was 7 of 9 early in the game, got off to a great start, really set the tempo for the evening.
Florida State had such great balance. When they come out, they had a wonderful game plan. They utilized every single person on their team. The thing that impressed me the most about Florida State tonight is that every man that touched the ball had the athletic ability to score with it. And boy, that puts a lot of pressure on the defensive teams.
There's Chip Ferguson. How you doing, Chip? And Galen Hall now. His team will fall to 6-5. You know, I mentioned he took over for Charlie Pell in '84. They went on 9-1-1 by some polls, the national championship, but then probation. They were 9-1-1 in '85. And then in '86, things got a little bit rocky. He was 6-5. In '87, 6-6, losing to UCLA in the Aloha Bowl. Now they're going to be 6-5 going into the All-American Bowl. And even though Bill Arnsparger and Marshall Chrysler, the president, came out and said he will be back, you've got to wonder if he doesn't win that bowl game, what's going to happen. There's just a lot of pressure on that job at the University of Florida as Perry completes the pass over on the far side to Dexter McNabb. Kirk Carruthers was there, but you just have to wonder, Lee, what's going to happen.
Okay, there's one good advantage he has. He has the advantage that Bill Arnsparger is an athletic director for. Bill Arnsparger knows exactly what Galen Hall is going through right now. He's a former football coach who became an athletic director, not an athletic director who came up through administration. He knows what it takes to be a football coach. He knows that Galen Hall can do the job, and he'll stick with him if it's his decision.
I think with a solid quarterback, this could be a much different team, but that just hasn't been the case this year. A tremendous defense as Perry that time was flattened. You know, in there was Kirk Carruthers again.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Galen told us about the young red shirt they got, Lex Smith. 6'2", 198, a freshman from Dade City. They think he could be a star of the future.
We've talked about red shirts, and you've got a philosophy about it, don't you?
Red shirt for who? I used to say, listen, let's win now. We might not be around if the guy comes in and follows us with all of our red shirts and becomes a hero.
He sends you a thank you note for all those good players you left him. 2nd and 10. Pressure's on Perry again, and he throws it short. Carruthers once again was in there. We've called his name a number of times. He's 6'2", a 200-pound freshman from East Lansing, Michigan.
This time we're going to get the call number 74, Ostazuski's name, for roughing the passer.
Well, he's a coach's son. That's 45 Carruthers.
Wait a minute, I tell you.
You mentioned Bobby Bowden's son's in coaching. Yeah, another coach's son is here on the Florida State staff.
Skip Holtz, excuse me. Skip was he's a graduate assistant here under Bobby Bowden. He's come to learn some offensive theory and how it is to win down here, and he showed us around. He's doing an outstanding job. And I imagine Lou is real proud of him being here with Bobby Bowden.
Let's get into Chris.
Okay, Roger, we've talked about the importance of recruiting in a regional game like this. Galen Hall told us yesterday, gee, if you have a big home victory, you can sign the recruits you've invited to the game right afterwards. The only problem with that is Florida State tonight was a big home victory, and many of the top recruits in Florida are sitting right across that field, including the top 4 senior running backs. They want to sign some backs in case Sammy Smith decides to go to the pros, fellas.
McClendon on the pitch. Shiver was there, but Stan got a little piece of the face mask.
That's it.
15-yard automatic first down.
It's the NCAA record. There was 3 flags thrown all at the same time and landed on the ground at the same time.
Pick up that youngster.
Speaking of youngsters, I wonder if my friend Burt Reynolds is sitting back out there in California watching with his son, Quentin Reynolds.
You know, what was this I heard about Burt wanting to wear white pants, or he's put on a move to get white pants in here at Florida State, and the players went into battle and said, look, we came in with scarlet and gold, and that's the way we want to go out?
Yeah, but Reynolds said, you're 2-0 in white pants. Don't forget it.
1st and goal from the 3-yard line. McClendon. He gets down to the 1. I'm real surprised. There are still a lot of front-liners in there defensively for Florida State. Deion Sanders still in there, and Galen Hall. Lee, you know this. You've been in that position. You've been on the sideline there. I mean, he's got a quarterback problem. I mean, what in the world can you do?
He's not only got a quarterback problem, he's got a depth problem. He just doesn't have enough football players to play against a team as good as Florida State, period.
2nd and goal from the 2. McClendon again, and Shiver came from the outside. Look at Sanders. Tracy Sanders is still in there. Deion Sanders still in there. Shelton Thompson. You know, in all honesty, Florida State, you know, they opened with Miami. Southern Miss was a good team, beat them. Clemson, of course, with the Ruski, got by them. Beat a good Michigan State team. Then they had Tulane, Georgia Southern, East Carolina, Louisiana Tech, and then South Carolina and Virginia Tech. So a lot of these guys have not had a lot of playing time because they've rested a lot. So on 3rd and goal, touchdown, Florida. Boy, they kept battling, and McClendon finally punched it in there.
That's good for McClendon to score in his first Florida State game. He's got a lot more to go. It's a nice ISO play. Florida did not give up. McClendon drove in there, beat number 45, Carruthers, to the goal line. Watch the offensive line explode. It's always good to have a young back like McClendon score in his first big game like this so that he can remember this when it comes up the next year.
3:07 left to go as John Francis will attempt the point after. And it's good. 52-18. Corso and Chris Fowler back with you. At Doak Campbell State, Lee, not many people are leaving. I kind of get the feeling these Seminole fans are savoring this blowout here this evening. As the ball is downed in the end zone by Keith Ross, and the Seminoles will have it 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. The previous biggest win in this series by Florida State was in 1977, 37-9. So this will establish a new record. And that man has had some big games. The last 2 years, 116 yards, and tonight, 108 yards. He plays well in the big games.
And I still think this will be his last Florida game. You know, Bobby Bowden's got a great record and everything, but he's got a... Let me tell you something. If Bobby Bowden changed places with Galen Hall right now, Galen Hall would win with the Florida State team.
Casey Weldon is in at quarterback right now. And the handoff up the middle. And Dane Williams with about 6. Was that the old Bear Bryant? Who was it? Bump Phillips used to say, you can take Yersons, and I can take Meisens, and I can take Yersons, and you can take Meisens, and you'd still beat me all the time.
Right. 80% of the games I ever coached in were won with the guys with the best players.
Now a big round of applause as the offensive line, the seniors, Tomberlin 72, Kuiper 62, and Joey Ionata 69 come off to a round of applause on 2nd down and 4. Victor Floyd with the carry. And a 1st down for Florida State as the clock continues to run. We're at 2 minutes, 18 seconds left to go. Are we going to talk about, we've been all night, we're going to talk about this record. Are we ready to do that?
Yes. 2-point play. We want to do it as soon as we can. There's a little bit of history right here.
All right, we're going to go to Chris Fowler in just a moment. Folks, we've got something for you that you don't want to miss. This is history we're talking about here. Weldon, the pitch back. And that's Keith Ross still going. Ross has got a chance to go all the way. He's caught from behind by Kerry Watkins at the 16-yard line.
Ross has been on the sideline resting. A little toss action play. Number 70, Yeomans gets a good block, but then it's all running. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switches the ball, takes off, and gets going. Nice play by Ross. Florida State just can't help but just running up on these guys.
53 yards by the senior from Newberry, Florida. Clock's running. 1:33 left to go. 52-17. Straight up the gut. That was Victor Floyd. Now let's go to Chris Fowler. Chris.
Okay, Roger, I'm standing in a very special corner of the field, special in the heart of Lee Corso. In 1958, Florida State against Tennessee Tech. The first 2-point conversion ever scored in college football was a new rule that year. And in Florida State's opener, Vic Prinzi rolled out on the quarterback rollout and dove in right there for the touchdown. And Lee Corso, with a 23-year-old assistant, undoubtedly going wild on the sidelines.
Absolutely. A point of history. We don't have a lot of tradition at Florida State, but we got one that no one else did.
Tom Nugent wanted to do that, didn't he? He knew what it was all about. Around the left side, Victor Floyd. And by the way, Vic Prinzi, who is a great quarterback here at Florida State, is an analyst on the Seminole Radio Network in just a couple of booths over.
You know, Roger, you can't win as a football coach without a great administration. President Bernie Sligo, who's got 3 degrees from Michigan State, athletic director Hootie Ingram, SID Wade Hogan, they've got everything here at Florida State to win a national championship.
And One last play with the clock running down. Keith Ross down inside the 5. We're going to be at Syracuse next Saturday. Of course, we got a doubleheader for you coming up. Syracuse and Pitt will be our afternoon game, and BYU and Miami will be our evening contest. So we've got still more regular season action as that ends this game from Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. And Florida State, with their biggest margin of victory ever against the Gators. The final score, Florida State 52 and Florida 17. Let's go down to Chris Fowler right now. Chris.
Okay, Roger, I've got Bobby Bowden. Coach, not much to complain about in that game on either side of the ball.
No, there's not much to complain there. We've had a lot of frustrations against the University of Florida. We finally won one.
What is it about Sammy Smith? He always plays great against the Gators.
Well, he couldn't time it any better because he's always played well late in the season. I hope he goes out good. If he goes out, I hope he don't go out.
Let's talk about the Sugar Bowl now against Auburn. A team he hammered pretty good last year. They're talking revenge.
If you get 10 against Auburn, you're doing pretty good, I'll tell you that.
Okay, thanks very much, Coach. Roger?
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. 52-17, the final. We'll be back to Tallahassee with more right after this.